What's going on, AJ?
Hi, Brian.
What? Why did it sound like that? Why did you just?
Because that's what people call you.
You called me Brain. I just thought you said it weird. I said, "Hey, Brian."
Like I was talking to my own brain.
Hey, Brian.
Like your brain or
How's
something.
it going? Like you were just like slurring your words or something. I didn't understand.
No, that was
Okay.
me the other night on 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Staying up for the Resident Evil 4 launch and working a full day the next day and crashing hard on some caffeine afterward. We'll get into that today.
Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, I don't think we should. I don't think we should.
Let's start the show, Brain.
I'm going to start the show. This is PSVR GAMESCAST Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Wise Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live, 6 p.m. Eastern on Without Parole, the channel you're watching right now, YouTube, for your viewing pleasure. But we also care about your oral pleasure. So don't forget to check out podcast services of your choice if you want to listen to this thing in MP3 format. Thanks to our good friend RyePop, who uploads this religiously. And if the live show is just too goddamn much for you, we get it. We talk about a lot of shit that you probably don't care about. So don't forget that Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry puts timestamps into the show after it's over. So you might want to do that if that's what you want to do. My name is Brian Powell from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, and this gentleman over here to my left, your right, it's AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
Muerte, muerte, muerte. What is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Monday. And I know that Mondays usually suck, but boy, oh boy, does this Monday suck. Just a little bit less.
Hey, AJ.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brain. Hey, Brain. The show is, we have a warning on the show. The stream's current bitrate is lower than recommended. It was fine when we started, but as you can probably see in the chat, people are complaining that we are pixelated.
So Fat Freddy's Game Cat says Ancient Dungeon's blocky look.
Oh, sweet.
Is he saying our stream looks like Ancient Dungeon?
I think so. We're a bunch of voxels, AJ. But hopefully that shit clears
this stream was definitely designed with Quest 2 in mind.
I've got a cat in my face. Can't even put my coffee down because the tornado is. Yep. There we go. Thank you, buddy. Wow. Appreciate it. All right. Wonderful. Yeah.
240p. We meet again.
Right. What do we do? Let me do a little speed check over here, because got to figure out if it's me or if it's YouTube. If it's YouTube, there's nothing I can do. If it's me,
I mean, you're really clear on my end, so
it's got to be YouTube then. All right.
Yeah. You look like HD over here.
Okay. My upload speeds aren't amazing, but they're should still be fine. Cool.
I thought that was funny too, Chrome Colossus. I've got a cat in my face.
I mean, just telling the truth. Anyway, so guys, we're just gonna do the stream and hopefully everything clears up because there's not really a whole lot that I can do right now.
Oh my god, yeah, I just got to look at it. Holy shit!
Yeah, is it real bad?
It's pretty bad.
Excellent. That's great.
Oh, PS1 throwback, baby.
AJ, what have you been up to since the last time we hung out? It's been a week.
Oh my goodness, a lot. It feels like it's been a long time, Brian.
It's been a while. Sorry.
It feels like a lot has happened since we last spoke, and a lot has happened. There's been several major updates to games that we're going to talk about today. There's been some new releases. And of course, there is the huge release of Resident Evil 4, which came out Friday. and we're going to share our thoughts on it today. But yeah, I did lots of I've been a little busier, man. I've been busy on the channel lately. I posted a little quick review about Arashi Castles of Sin, and posted a review about Arizona Sunshine 2, and then did some live streams on Resident Evil 4.
What was your briefly? What were your thoughts on Arashi? I know that when I had Wes on the show Wednesday, he was like it's fine. It's the same game that was on PSVR 1, and if that's, I thought it was much worse.
I wish. Yeah, I think it's actually worse because at least it had good, controls, and I don't know, some of the stuff that was dated was hidden behind the PSVR 1 hardware, and on PSVR 2 it's like a lot of that stuff became a lot more clear, and they didn't even bother trying to like adjust it or hide it or anything. If you want to know my thoughts on Arashi, go to my video and just watch the first 15-20 seconds, something like that, first 30 seconds. That'll summarize my feelings on Arashi.
Okay. Cool. Well, listen, AJ, hopefully things start clearing up over here. I'm trying to keep an eye over on YouTube and seeing if things get better. But it's Monday. I feel like we should get back on track. It's been about 3 weeks since we thanked a very specific group of people. What do you say? Should we do that today?
That's right. It is Monday, and we need to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something Gamecat, something Gamecat related, or something Gamecat adjacent, as you and something Gamecat adjacent like to say. And this week we have what? Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new Gamecats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo. Starting with Serial Killer, the Happy Holiday Gamecat.
Bing! Oh, so great. Now now that November's over, I won't feel so bad about being horrible about promoting his Movember charity stuff. AJ, I'm a horrible person. Most people have already figured this out by now. Slowly but surely, each one of you will figure it out. I'm just a horrible person. Serial Killer probably knows that now.
We've also got the Midlife Crisis Gamecat turning 45 on Wednesday.
Bing!
Happy early birthday to you.
It's Hippie Pickle. He's turning 45. He's fucking old. He's
nice.
Not that old. Not by comparison, at least.
45 is the new
42?
age of something. Yeah, I was going to say like 42. The meaning of life?
That's right. Yep, meaning of everything.
There you go. You are that thing that's the missing link. We've also got Quill, the Sleepy West Gamecat. I almost fell asleep trying to figure that out for a second.
Quill, the Sleepy West Gamecat. Yeah. Here's the thing. Wes hates it. That this is what he's known for now. And you know what? Too fucking bad, Wes.
Wes, if you're listening, you should be proud, man. You should be proud for a memorable moment in Without Parole stream history. We've all had something happen to us at one point or another, and that got us really embarrassed. And I saw your reaction to it, and you were, but don't be embarrassed, man. You're a fucking trooper for hanging in there for another 7 hours afterward, and yeah, nobody's laughing at you for that. We're definitely just an awesome thing that you. It was a funny thing that you did, but
it was all in good fun. And yeah, you're right. He's a trooper for making it through it. And the fact is that he is such a professional all the time that like that's why I think that's why it was especially funny. It was because it was so out of character for him. And so yeah, if Wes, if you're watching this, we love you. Although that is a fucking great username.
Own that shit.
Yeah. Own
that shit. We've also got Stike, the Signosis Gamecat.
Bing.
Oh, throwback to Signosis, huh?
Little G Police, yeah. Little Colony Wars.
Colony Wars.
Yeah.
I did. Fun fact: I tried to get one of the developers. One of the developers that worked on Colony Wars, Dr. Dave Ranyard, I did an interview with him one time, and he made that. What was that marble game?
Marble Madness?
No, the one on VR.
Oh, yeah.
The one with like the comic booky Arcus Path.
Yes, it was horrible.
Yeah. And we were interviewing him for Arcus Path, and I was just asking him to make Colony Wars VR the entire time. I was like, "Wow, this is my one chance." I tried, guys. I tried and failed. We've also got Random Toxie, the Holly Jolly VR Santa Cat.
Bing.
Y'all got the holiday spirit.
God, it's too early for me, man. I know that
we're like 15 days away from Christmas. It is not too early.
Trust me, dude, there are radio stations around here that by November 1st, they're already playing Christmas music. And so that's obviously too early. However, I think that, really, 4 days before Christmas is a great time to start the Christmas music and the celebrations and putting up the decorations. It's too much, man. It's too much. Christmas is stressful. Christmas hasn't been fun for a long time. It's a stressful holiday.
Awesome Tatum says, I'm glad AJ could pronounce Psygnosis. I wouldn't even know where to start. Psygnosis. I don't even know if I said that right. So
that's how I've been saying it. So who the fuck knows?
Psygnosis? Yeah. I don't know. And last but certainly not least, we've got Madder Than the Hatter Game Catter. Boom! Bing!
Nice. That's wonderful. It's wonderful. I like things that rhyme. Madder Than the Hatter Game Catter. It's good stuff. Is that rhyming?
Alice in Wonderland reference.
Yeah. Guys, if you change your name to GameCat because you love us almost as much as we love you, then make sure you change your name over on Google or YouTube. And when you do, put hashtag GameCat in the comments below any Without Parole video so I can search it out and find you. And AJ can give you a shout out on next week's show. I don't know how much I want to get into this, AJ, but I do want to say, I think sometimes people forget that we're human beings. This is on my mind, and I just want to get it off my mind. People forget that we're human beings, and so that means like sometimes we say things that we don't mean. Sometimes we overreact. Sometimes some days we're in a bad mood, and like shit happens. People. When I read comments, I generally read comments and try to understand as much as I possibly can. Hey, this person probably means this from the best possible place it could be coming from. And I don't know any of these people, right? I try to make the assumption that it's coming from the best possible place. There are people who've been watching the channel and it's not always. It's clearly not always coming from the best possible place. Some people are just being a dick to be a dick. But then the other side of it is that like people have been watching us for years. A lot of people have been watching us for years, AJ. And it's like, and if you're going to turn on a dime because of one thing that I say, and you misunderstand something that I say, then good riddance. Good riddance, because like that means you weren't really a fan, a friend, a game cat to begin with. Like, dude, we all have bad days, and I try to understand when you guys are having bad days. So like, for the love of fucking Christ, dude, understand when I'm having a bad day. So I just wanted to get that off my mind at the beginning of the show. Like, I really don't see the people that watch Without Parole as like fans. I never have. I've always hated that word. The community has been so great, and you guys have like really kept me going during hard times. So I consider you guys friends, and I hope that you think of us the same way. And so that's it. Just keep that in mind when you're reacting or overreacting to things that people say. Try to be really considerate and respectful to each other here in the chat, and in the comment section on videos. Because I'm just like, dude, I'm super burned out right now, and like I just have zero patience and zero tolerance for a lot of things. So if you guys didn't know, work on the PSVR award show begins today.
Ooh.
And it's airing on the fucking 30th. It's not gonna be a pretty sight, AJ. Just I'll leave you in charge of my epitaph. You figure it out.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyway, let's move on, man. Let's move on. There's actually quite a few tips here. Let's tackle these first and foremost. Burke Daniels with the $5 tip says, do we wish that Sony would have used the RE4 as a Pathfinder example of hybrid third-person shooters, just as Village was a Pathfinder for hybrid first-person shooters? Do we wish that Sony would have used RE4 as a Pathfinder example of hybrid? What do you think? Does this make sense?
I gotta understand the question first. Do we think?
It's weird. It's worded a little bit strangely. So I'm hoping that we're answering your actual question, Burke Daniels. But
they're asking, yeah, like if is the way that Resi 4 was handled, is that a possible solution moving forward for converting like third-person games to VR? And I think the proof is in the pudding, man. Yes, this is absolutely, we're going to do a full Resident Evil 4 breakdown and everything, but let's go ahead and just, why not? Why not just answer that question right now? I think it's pretty apparent that, even if there are some sacrifices, minor things that have to be made in order to make it work and have a full-blown experience in VR, I think the pros greatly outweigh the cons here, and Resi 4 is definitely a prime example of that. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but yeah, in my opinion, this is definitely an example of one way it can be done for sure.
Yep, absolutely. This is such a, as we've said many times on the show before, this is such a transitional generation where everyone's kind of figuring shit out, and finding out that like if there's going to be AAA games in VR, that we really can't have them built from the ground up. They have to be conversions of games that already exist. And so it's good seeing Hello Games saying that it took one person on the team was it one person? How would it work with No Man's Sky, AJ? How many people?
Yeah, Martin Griff. He said that was for the eye-tracked foveated rendering.
I knew
in particular.
I felt like something was wrong.
Took him about 6 months for that, and then a couple additional months for some extra stuff that we're going to talk about today as well. But yeah, man, it's I think we're starting to learn a lot of new things about like where VR is at. I mean, obviously, right now it just doesn't seem viable for studios to go out and make a multi-hundred or something $1 million project,
right,
and try to create a AAA VR game built from the ground up with a flat screens amount of content. And here, this is something that you and I, Brian, have been saying for years, is that this is the way that you get the best of both worlds. You get VR mechanics, and then you get flat screen content, which clearly gives a huge advantage to the VR scene. And it's absolutely necessary right now. It is, I think, the best solution moving forward. In the future, yes, we want to see completely built from the ground up games for VR that are huge,
sure,
and stuff like that. But right now, while VR is still growing, needs time to grow, needs time to evolve, and strengthen that player base, it absolutely is the way that makes the most sense right now.
Yeah, agreed. But the point of it was, I think I started us down a path that we didn't need to go down. But I agree with you completely. The fact is that we're still kind of figuring out these things, and like, how do you take a flat screen game that has cutscenes, that has that's played in third person, that where the cutscenes are in third person. There's a lot of things to figure out. But I do think that what a fucking great start. Like, if this is us, and I say us meaning like the industry, which I am not part of, so maybe say if this is the start of them. If this is the start of them figuring it out, and they're just starting to figure it out, then what a amazing start, because Village was incredible. And so is Resident Evil 4. Like, I mean, just absolutely incredible games. Some of the best shit we've ever played in VR, period. And this is them just beginning to figure it out at the beginning of this new, headset generation, when we're finally moving into like this AAA realm. So, I mean, yes, to answer the question, yes, I think these are great kind of templates for other developers to follow moving forward. Living Legend with the Canadian $5 tip says, happy RE4 day, because holy shit, HOLAY, holy. Shit, does this game look glorious on PSVR2? Didn't expect it to look this good. Red Matter 2 sharpness. Good thing I waited. Whoa. Red Matter 2 sharpness. I wouldn't give it that. It looks fucking great, but I wouldn't give it Red Matter 2 sharpness.
Well, I'll honestly say, yeah, I think it blows away. Not Red Matter's sharpness per se, but graphically, it blows Red Matter 2 out of the water. Yep. Absolutely. Agreed.
And that's what we've said. It's like, you're kind of, that's why Red Matter 2 is able to run at 120 native or whatever it is, right? Because it's not this detailed. Like, we walk around this world and there's just detail everywhere. It's a AAA game, and it looks like a AAA game in VR, which is what we love. Who's next? Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Gamecat, with the $5 tip says, I tried playing Arashi today, hoping for a stealth update, and it crashed within seconds. Everyone for 4 attempts. Crashed within seconds, everyone, for 4 attempts. So he tried it 4 times and it crashed 4 times. That's not good. That's even worse than...
Was there a patch for it?
Hoping for
a stealth update?
I don't remember seeing one.
It crashed 4 times? That's bad. It's getting worse.
Yeah, I don't think the game crashed on me when I played it. So, yeah, it is getting worse. et.2k9.now with the $5 tip says, you're good, Brian, and they give me a little heart. Thanks, man. I wish it was you that I was talking about. We've always been good, bud. but thank you for the reassurance. Mark Pringlesleaf with the level 1 membership says, you have always been a friend to me, Brian and AJ. Oh,
we're not your typical. We're not like real YouTubers. We're the fakest YouTubers out there, but we're real people and real gamers. That's for sure. And that's why we connect with you guys.
Man, can't imagine being like, I don't know,
a slave to YouTube,
a real YouTuber. I don't know, man. Maybe one day. Now let's try in the game feline. Everybody, click like and subscribe. Do it now.
But don't get me wrong, YouTube is a wonderful platform. Absolutely, no shade there.
Sirens on my end. It actually is. YouTube has been made everything so much easier. You know this. Everybody knows the Without Parole story, right? Like that. It was supposed to just be a podcast, like an MP3 podcast, and I couldn't figure out how to upload MP3s to like iTunes and shit, because this was almost 10 years ago, and it wasn't as easy as it is now. And so I found out that you could just upload videos on YouTube. And so I just stuck a GoPro to the wall. and that's why Without Parole started, because
excellent.
Yep. That's the only reason we're on YouTube, is because I couldn't upload MP3s to iTunes because I'm a moron. Now let's try in the game feeling. The $5 tip says, quit y'all. Never. It's Christmas in PSVR land. Love you, Niles. Right?
Oh yeah. Christmas came early, baby. And so did all of us together. More at 11.
Try and stop me, AJ. You just try and stop. Dreamcasting channel with the $2 tip says, speaking of games to convert to VR, Robocop VR, please. I'm down.
I'm not going to say it, but I almost said it.
What?
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1. Yep.
I need a deeper line. That one's too well known now. I need a more deep cut line from RoboCop.
Planet Schlorpian with a $2 tip says, who wants to bet Light No Fire gets a VR mode? I think this is the perfect time to remind everybody to click the link in the description below. Come join our Discord, because that's where you can leave viewer takeover questions, just like Meadows did. He wrote, hashtag viewer takeover. This is particularly aimed at AJ. With Light No Fire revealed and clearly based on the No Man's Sky engine, do you think their 6+ month work on implementing PSVR2, foveated rendering, and extra fixes recently into No Man's Sky was purely for No Man's Sky, or possibly done with an ulterior motive for a possible planned PSVR2 compatibility play for Light No Fire when it's ready? My take, I take several pizza bets that PSVR2 hybrid play will be ready when the game's launch, if not shortly after. AJ, take it away. What do you think?
So the Game Awards was what day was that? Thursday?
Who can keep up?
I don't remember what day it was, but
it was
the Game
Thursday.
Awards happened recently, and they had good old Sean Murray on there, and they announced their new game, Light No Fire, and they're like, what are you building this time? What's your game this time? And Sean Murray, in typical Sean Murray fashion, goes up there and it's like, I'm making Earth, and expected us to understand what that meant. We're like, excuse me. I remember when he said that. He's like, we're making Earth. I was like, what did he just say?
I can't tell if this is more or less ambitious than making the entire universe.
Oh, dude, there's no people are already giving him shit about it, but it's hilarious though. His reaction is priceless. Because so they're making a literal open world game that's multiplayer based, and it's basically a game. It's one planet that's supposed to be like the size of Earth, and basically people can create and build and live on this thing. What I do know is that Hello Games are actually very big believers in VR, and I think that their games naturally have a really good fit for them. So well, I don't know if I'd expect it at launch, because quite frankly, at the point where we're at right now, most games are trying to be working at launch and then adding VR after, and it just seems like the way things are going down right now.
Yeah.
Like the game has to work first, and then they can introduce VR to it. But I would absolutely bet 5 pizzas that this game will see VR at some point, because Hello Games have converted. If they can do it with No Man's Sky, they can do it with this, absolutely. But I don't know about at launch, but I 100% believe this is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. 100% believe it's going to happen as well. It looks fascinating, because this sort of addresses the concern that some people have with No Man's Sky about being like,
no dragons, because it's got dragons now.
Yeah, finally, at long last, we get everything we want.
Yes.
It's it just looks like it's so deep, and I've got a lot of questions about it. He says it's procedurally generated, but it's like an MMO, and so like what's procedurally generated? Like, is everything going to be the same for everybody who's playing it? Is it procedurally generated from server to server? Like, what's the I've got so many questions, but
yeah, this
sort of looks like, I mean, dude, let's put it this way: if this came to PSVR2 at or near launch, I mean, this would put things like Zenith to shame. And Zenith, I thought, was a fantastic game, right? But it was also like VR's first MMO, and I know it's not the first MMO, but it was PSVR's first MMO. And so I thought
first big MMO for sure.
Yeah. And so it was very cool, and like I thought they did a lot of things right. But like when you've got something like this that just like looks like it's doing more stuff right than Zenith before it even launches. And we'll incorporate flat screen gamers as well. And
all this experience they've got. I mean, they have literally perfected No Man's Sky now, and so I think all this stuff that they've learned from No Man's Sky will absolutely play a part in them being able to implement VR into this. Yep. No doubt about it.
Yep, but I'm with you. I don't think it'll be there at launch. Developer after developer after developer, like, we're just trying to get our game out. We'll think about VR afterwards. We just want to like launch, and a game like this could launch with so many issues and bugs, and just right up until the absolute last minute. That I wouldn't want to put that pressure on them And I'm sure they don't want to put that pressure on them, especially like knowing how No Man's Sky launched. They want to make sure they have a very, very positive launch with this, where nobody's saying, oh, you overpromised and underdelivered. They want to make sure they deliver on their promises this time, so we don't have another No Man's Sky story. Although that story ended up pretty good.
That story did end up really good. And it gets even better, Brian, because not only did we get the announcement of Light No Fire, which looks cool and hopefully gets VR support, but they actually teased some 2024 content updates for No Man's Sky. And for those that play No Man's Sky, you might be asking, holy shit, what did I just see? Because they showed like something that looked like a new space station, and it was huge. It looked like something out of Star Trek or something. I don't know. But that's not even the most exciting thing about what's going on with No Man's Sky, Brian.
I'm so excited, AJ. Please tell me what's going on with No Man's Sky.
Did you have you checked out No Man's Sky at all since the foveated rendering eye tracked update?
You're not talking about this update. You're talking about the last update.
The big one.
Yes.
The big.
Yeah. It looks, yes. And I was blown away by how great it looked. And I was like, damn, if I'm ever going to start a new save of No Man's Sky and start playing this game for real, it's going to be now. And then I didn't do it.
Well, it would be the time to do it. I mean, now is the time, because after they introduced that update, it looks phenomenal. It looks red matter too sharp. And but there was one little thing. There was one little thing about that update, was that some of the particle effects, things like when you shoot when you're like mining and like you see sparks fly up, or let's say like, some of the ships have these like, the thrusters, special effects and stuff. Some of that and portals would all be a little bit blurry. Well, out of nowhere, they just very quietly released another update, Brian. And they've literally, from head to toe, top to bottom, all of No Man's Sky looks like how it did after the update now. So it is like Hello Games have literally achieved perfection with the graphics for No Man's Sky. Everything looks even better than it did before, and it already looked mind-blowing, and now it looks even better. It's hard to fathom that.
That's incredible. Yeah, I was just hanging out in Discord before the show talking to Izzard, and he had just checked it out and said that he couldn't believe that we're talking about red matter 2 quality in an open universe, like in terms of like clearness and fidelity and all that. And it's amazing that No Man's Sky and Hello Games, they're not jumping up and down screaming about this improvement. Is the community out there jumping up and down screaming about how great this improvement is? Because I feel like I haven't heard this from anybody until 5 minutes before the show.
Well, one day when you follow me on Twitter, you'll be informed.
That sounds like a lot of work. Pass.
No, I've been very vocal about it, and that's about it. I think people are kind of catching on. There's just a lot going on right now, Brian. There's a lot going on, so it's hard to keep up with all the stuff, and like you're like, this, like it's just chaos right now, like the best kind of chaos that we could possibly be having right now.
Yeah, it is great chaos.
Yes.
Also, AJ, the absolute worst possible time that I could put on an award show, because I have about 10 games I need to review right now. But no, it's great. It's great chaos. I don't think. I feel like we've said this a million times, but every time I say it, it's more true than the time before. And that's that VR has never been in a better place. In PSVR2 specifically is killing it. And I feel like this, if you're not enjoying VR right now, if you're not finding a game that you love, if you're not excited about the future, if you're not excited about what's happening today and yesterday and the day before and then tomorrow and the day after that, then like VR is not for you. It's just literally not for you, because it's never been better than it is right now. Like, take a couple years off from VR and come back to it, and maybe it'll be for you then, right? But everything is incredible right now, and things just keep getting better and better and better. The number of games, the quality of the games, the patches to games that launched and weren't great, like everything's sort of coming together.
Yeah.
Like it's all coming up Millhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at a great place right now. Basically where we had hoped we would have been, like maybe by launch.
Yep.
Yeah, things with VR, if you're new to VR, like it can be kind of a roller coaster ride. It goes up and down all the time. But it's moments like this that are the moments you realize like how special it is to be here right now experiencing this, because you've seen how bad it can be and then you see how much better it is. I'm just incredibly grateful for the situation. Like, you know, it just, even just a couple months ago, like it wasn't looking great. And yeah, all it takes is just a little bit of time, and then you start to see things improving. And yeah, man, stuff like, you know, not only No Man's Sky got patched, and then Switchback got patched, and then Green Hell just got patched. And these were like big hitters, which made them extremely disappointing at launch, that they, you know, kind of underwhelmed, underdelivered. But we're in a great place right now. And like, you can't help but think that this is like, you know, this is just the beginning. Like this is just a small glimpse of what we're in for this generation. And it's just going to be absolutely mind melting.
Well, it's not just us. Apparently the word is getting out, AJ, because according to a UK market research firm, Black Friday 2023 saw the biggest ever revenue week for VR in the UK, at least. This is an article that's over on Upload VR by David Heaney. He's quoting a lot of gamesindustry.biz marketing research. Also, guys, heads up, refresh, hit F5, because it looks like we have an excellent connection again. And if you're running in low resolution, it should be back up and running.
Let me try this.
I've been trying to monitor this as we go.
It looks the same to me.
Okay. Well, according to YouTube, we have an excellent connection, and everything should be going better. So it should.
It's YouTube.
It's YouTube. It's been YouTube the whole time. However,
it's not me. It's you.
Tube. Yeah, exactly. So let's check out this this article. Black Friday 2023 saw the biggest blah 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 blah. GFK's games boss Dorian Bloch told GamesIndustry.biz VR was in the spotlight over Black Friday 2023, and this was the biggest ever revenue week for VR in the UK. Biggest ever revenue week, AJ. So it's not just best week of the year or best week of the generation. No, it's hold on a second. 1 second here, you guys.
I think he has a fire drill or something.
Sorry, there are intercoms in all of our apartments, and so when there's building emergencies or information, it permeates. But also, who the fuck cares? Let's get. Where were we? There's lots of charts and graphs and stuff. But compared to Black Friday week 2022, GFK estimates that headset unit sales increased 33% and headset revenue increased by 17%.
And that's overall.
Yeah. Like
that is all. So that's actually a new record, like broken for like overall headset sales during a holiday.
Seems like it. It seems like this is the best week VR has ever had, AJ, is basically what they're saying, in the UK at least.
In the UK, okay.
Now, the interesting thing here is that neither MetaQuest 3 or PSVR2 went on sale on Black Friday week. Quest 2, however, saw its biggest discount ever. In early November, it was cut to £250 for the rest of the year, and for Black Friday, it came with a £50 credit, effectively valuing it at just £200. I've been trying to say pounds sometimes and not quid all the time because I'm not British and I feel like I'm an imposter. ByteDance's Pico 4 also saw its best deal on Black Friday weekend. It was priced at 260 quid and came with Green Hell VR, Warplanes Battle Over Pacific, and Arizona Sunshine 2, together worth £80.
I'm surprised they got Arizona Sunshine on there.
Yeah, that was right. The second one, like, I'm surprised they didn't throw in the first one to like get people to buy the second one. GFK publicly released. Sorry, one more time. GFK's publicly released data doesn't break down headset sales by model or even brand, but when asked by reader on Twitter, I refuse to say X, whether this was mainly driven by Quest or by the PSVR2, the writer of Games Industry Biz article responded, both. But the fact that unit sales increased twice as much as revenue suggests, though, that a significant percentage of those sales were Quest 2 at the new lower budget price. And I think that's pretty much the article. So, I mean, good news constantly, right? I think one of the things that we've been saying a lot is that, you know, when little Johnny out there says, "Hey, Mom, Dad, can I get a VR headset?" And this super popular Quest 2 is really affordable, easy to put under the Christmas tree, easy to give little Johnny for a birthday present or whatever it is. Like that's another person getting into VR, right? I think one of the biggest obstacles that VR has is that kids don't find it nearly as cool as everybody who's like 30 plus who grew up watching Lawnmower Man and Nick Arcade and were like dreamt of being inside of a video game their entire life. Kids are like, you know, oh, I'd rather just look, I have a phone or a tablet. Like, look how easy it is. Like, I don't have to put anything on my face or, you know, do this whole thing.
Well, on the social aspect, I mean, when you're a kid, you want to find any excuse to hang out with your friends as much as possible. So
right, and things luckily things like Among Us VR and Gorilla Tag are making those things possible, right? So all little Johnny's friends get in, play Gorilla Tag free to play, and like, you know, they've got their experience. And so when little Johnny grows up, right, like, you know, 5-10 years from now, whatever, and he's like, and he remembers how great VR was when he was a kid. Like, this is just getting the headset onto more people, whether it be, you know, just people who are curious about it, whether it be kids. There's a whole market there that like just doesn't care about VR. And I think that these types of sales and like, I think this all really, really helps the industry.
They don't care about VR until one of these companies goes, "Hey, you kid, you like Resident Evil 4? How'd you like to play as Leon Kennedy?"
Right.
And then then they go, "Oh, Resident Evil 4 is in VR? Well, I don't know what VR is, but I like Resident Evil 4. Let me try that." No. Yeah, man, the industry with you know, especially Sony and Meta really all the only chance VR has left, and luckily, you know, with doing it the way they're doing it, it's growing. It's growing slowly. It's not this overnight sells 50 million units kind of thing,
right?
Which is a little bit different. Which is like, you know, that's a little bit different than what the flat screen and non-VR platforms are trying to do. They're trying to, you know, sell as many as fast as possible. While VR is more having this, like, you know, slower growth to it, a more organic growth, and I think that's ultimately better in terms of the way, like, for evolving the hardware and software. You know, it's giving things time to breathe and age, and, you know, just basically get more valuable data from that in creating the next iterations. And, you know, we're slowly getting there, and yeah, this is definitely a great sign that each year it seems like, you know, especially with new hardware or whatever, you see a big boost in sales, like new records are being broken, things like that. So just slow and steady, man. Keep it slow and steady, and we'll be ending up in a really good place later on.
Big Frog in the chat says little Johnny needs to quit being a little bitch and get a PSVR 2. I agree. Comment of the day right there. But yeah, man, I think this is a good sign. It's I find it incredibly interesting that Sony, despite selling 600,000 units of PSVR 2 in the first few weeks of its release, hasn't been saying, never said, "Hey, we've hit 1 million sales." You know, like it'd be very, very curious if they start talking about that. You know, if they hit 1 million and then just kind of like fizzled out, I could totally see like why you wouldn't want to like say it, because then like it's 2 more years until they hit 2 million or something like that. But yeah, interested to see if this surge in sales will get them talking about how much it's selling.
Yeah, I like I said before, after the holidays, I fully expect us to be well over 1 million in sales for PSVR2.
Aceville VR in the chat with the $2 tip says, even I, of all people, played the RE4 VR demo. It's not scary. Like, it's really not, like, I was scared at the beginning because I'm chicken shit, right? But like, literally, after that opening 90 minutes, that, like, I got used to everything. It just wasn't that scary. Like, J Meow, one of our resident game cats, notoriously.
Gamecat. Sorry.
It's good.
Sorry.
Notoriously, can't deal with the horror stuff, and he has been blasting through RE4 all weekend. So,
can I tell you a secret? He told me in a message, and he said this privately, so I'm totally spilling the beans here.
Oh wait, full screen. We're going full screen on AJ.
J Meow. He said, Astrobot is my favorite game of all time, but Resident Evil 4 is the best VR game I've ever played. Boom. You heard it here first. jmeowleaks.com.
Amazing. Dude, people on Reddit were talking about being like, oh, you can use your flashlight in non-flashlight areas. Like if you just take it off your head and then like turn it on and then walk out of the flashlight area with it on. Lies. You can walk like 3 extra feet and then it clicks off. And then you're like, and there's like a button you can push and you hear Leon clicking the flashlight and it does not stay on. It's like click, 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 click. It just only goes on when the game wants it to go on. Just saying.
Yeah. I was only aware that you could grab it from your face and use it, but
yeah, I was super excited, man, because like I love that fucking flashlight, and I really wish it was in my jacket. I wish it had the jacket inventory again. I wish I could just pull it out whenever I wanted to. Not the case. Thundercat says Thundercat Gamecat. Don't tell my dogs. With the level 1 membership, says fantastic gear so far. Made better with you guys. Thank you. Made better by for us as well. You guys being here. Thank you so much.
Ho!
It's for real, dude. I love Thundercats. I love Thundercats when I was a kid. Don't go back and watch it. It's terrible. Living Legend Canadian $5 tip says, just a tip for those experiencing blurriness with RE4, make sure you disable... Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to read this and then we're going to talk about it because that's how things work. Make sure you disable border tracking in the PSVR2 settings in the PlayStation 5 OS. Seems that there's a bug. Now, these two things should not be connected, but this is now the second time. Yeah, so you know the additional border.
The tracking assist.
The tracking assist, right? So it puts a border up on your television.
I was like, what's border tracking?
Right, and so it helps create more texture in your room for the IR cameras to track.
Right,
and so.
I don't use that shit.
Oh, I don't use that shit either. But man, I need to fucking turn that shit on and see what everyone's talking about because there should be no connection between what's up on your social screen and the direct output that is coming to the headset. Those are two very different things, right? They're outputting to two different places.
Yeah.
However, if there's just
now you're intrigued.
I am intrigued. If there's a bug, that like the like clicking this setting blurry. Like fucks with it. Yeah, I mean, I need to check this out. I was kind of dismissive of it the first time I heard it, but now that Living Legend said it, you can't dismiss shit Living Legend says. Jim Perona with the $2 tip says for the coming up Millhouse reference, Chef's Kiss. Why? When did Chef's Kiss like become a thing? Like, I mean, it's always been a term like that people use, but lately everyone is using Chef's Kiss as like a thing everywhere. I can't fucking turn around without seeing Chef's Kiss.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Watcher, and they use it a lot in Watcher. So
maybe emojis sped up the process of it becoming more popular.
Maybe. Awesome Tatum in the chat says, I use the tracking border and see no issues when playing RE4 VR. I don't know.
This is why you have to actually test things.
But it's way more fun to just take people at their word. Yeah. Oh, by the way, YouTube is still saying that the warning: the stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommend. Yeah, but that's on you, YouTube. Figure your shit out.
Well, I don't think you can change the bitrate, anyways. Right now,
No,
I don't think you can do that live.
But also
Are you sure the bitrate's at the right level?
I mean, nothing's changed. And also, we started off with an excellent connection, and we ended. So it's been kind of all over the place.
Well, Streamlabs likes to update and fuck with my shit. So if ever I see an update, I double check. But yeah, if you go into the settings there, the output settings, and just check your bitrate, make sure it's didn't get reset or something, because it.
I mean, shit definitely got reset on Friday. So here, hold on.
Streamlabs has a mind of its own sometimes.
What should my bitrate be set at? What do you have yours set at?
You don't want to use mine, but you put it at like 5,500.
Yeah, so it's currently set at 2,500.
Oh yeah, that's pretty low. Put that at like at least 5,000. I
mean, I'll change it, but yeah, I can't do it right now, obviously.
I won't let you. Okay.
Although I can stop the stream, and then rejoin the ongoing.
Can you
stream.
stop it real quick and then?
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're gonna. everybody, cross your fingers.
Brace for impact. Right? Brace for impact.
If you're sitting in an aisle seat, remember the warnings that we gave you when you boarded the plane. Okay.
Put your elbows in. Tuck and roll.
All right. Let's. And I think we're live again, AJ. Let's hope this works. According to YouTube, we have an excellent connection, but that's how we started the last stream, with an excellent connection. So fingers crossed. All right, and everybody says it's better. So I don't know if it was the bitrate or we just had to restart. What?
Yeah, it's nice and clear.
Nice. I probably should have done this 45 minutes ago.
Coming to you live in HD. Oh yeah, got that. It only took us 6 months to get the eye track and foveated rendering going, but we got it. Look at the difference. This is like the difference, guys.
This
is the difference. If you're unaware, this is like the difference between the non eye tracked foveated rendering and the eye tracked. See how much better it is.
Awesome. Datum said, "Woohoo! The myrrh is gone."
The myrrh is gone.
Amazing. Thanks for hanging in there with us, everybody. Glad that worked. I don't even. Where are we at? We're at Stike Signosis Gamecat with a €2 says epic Rollercoasters now available to wishlist. Listen, once upon a time I thought there was going to be too many roller coasters in VR. It was like Darkness Roller Coaster and like Roller Coaster Legends 1 and 2, and Rush of Blood was a launch title. And I was like, okay, we got it. Roller coasters in VR. Cool. I want more. I want some PSVR2 roller coasters. So I'm going to check this shit out. Hopefully it's out soon.
Yeah. I'm praying for a good roller coaster game.
Macho, the real estate procrastinating Gamecat with the $2 tip says, OMG, Quest versus PSVR2 difference. Chef's kiss.
Well, it's a little bit different, but chef's kiss.
Amazing. Everything's a chef's kiss now, from now on. Yeah. All right, man. Super excited, AJ. You know that you know when there's just so much going on, when there's so many new games coming out, and there's so much news to cover, and there's so much everything. People just love to fucking drop their games on the PlayStation Store like unexpectedly. And another one of those is happening this week. Is it this week or next week? With
next week.
Ven VR Adventure.
Yes.
We knew it was coming soon, man.
Yes.
We knew it was coming soon. But,
you knew. Nobody else knew shit.
Sorry. I knew it was coming soon. and I probably spoke before I should have, but then then the next thing we knew, trophies went live. And dude, I hate to rain on everybody's parade, because I'm looking forward to playing this, because I played it on Quest, and I know they've made a lot of improvements since. Very much looking forward to playing this. No platinum trophy.
Oh, yeah, that does kind of suck.
Yeah, big time. I mean, this is I believe there's only 8 trophies, if I remember this right. I got to look it up. But yeah, this is
come on, man. Yeah, that does suck for me, because I love platformers, and I've been playing them my whole life, so I'm decent at them. And like a game like this, I've got the platinum. I'm like one of 3 people, all Gamecats, that have the platinum in Lucky's Tale,
dude.
Because I love platformers.
9 trophies, and one of them is complete the tutorial.
Oh God.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like there are any you can miss. Yeah.
Well,
oh no, I'm sorry. There is Treasure Hunter Supreme. Collect all the collectibles and hidden throughout the game. So you can totally miss some of these, but like it's ridiculous, man. Like I don't know.
I hate it when devs don't have platinum trophies in games that should have them, and then they always say the same thing. Well, you have to meet a certain criteria, and it's like bullshit. Luna Star or whatever had a fucking platinum trophy. If that had a
Lunar Stone, is that the?
Not Lunar Stone, Luna. I don't know. It was some like weird artsy.
All sorts of bullshit get platinum trophies.
It was, yeah, man. So I don't want to hear that excuse. Y'all got played by Sony's Q&A people.
Unbelievable.
But that being said, dude, like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, platformers are near and dear to my heart. It's one of my favorite genres of all time. Don't let Tiff hear that. Yeah, man, this is obviously like a Crash Bandicoot kind of inspired game or whatever. It's third person. I honestly am. This is a genre that I've been like, where are these? Like, we need more of these. If we need, obviously, Astrobot, either a remaster or a sequel, that has to happen sooner or later. But in the meantime, I don't mind a couple more. And this is one of the better looking ones. I mean, because this one, supposedly, you'd be able to answer this better than I could, has really good looking graphics, has challenging gameplay. And these are all things I like. So I'm hoping that's the case here. I'm hoping this ends up being a really good platformer. And I think it could actually do pretty well because it's just a nice change up. I'm not like, I do like horror games and I like action games. I like shooting games, but I don't like too much of one thing. I like variety as well. And this is a nice little wrinkle to throw in to the library, to have something just a little bit different that's not too kiddie, like something that's charming but for adults.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if we had Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy in VR, I would play that again, start to finish, for the fourth time. I platinumed that. I beat that game 100% on PS2. Did it again with the PS3 remaster, the Vita remaster, the PlayStation 4 remaster. I'll play through that again in VR. Like, just bring it on over. Amazing game. What's your platformer of choice of the last 20 years or so?
I mean, Astrobot's been the best of recent times. But yeah, Astrobot, Moss. Let's
go non-VR, AJ. What ones would you like brought into VR?
I mean, dude, I grew up on like Mega Man and Castlevania and like and Mega Man, Mega Man.
Okay.
I grew up on like side-scrolling platformers and stuff. So 3D platformers, dude. I even like Jersey Devil, Brian. You've heard me mention like a lot of PS1 games had some. There were some cool platformers. They didn't even have to be good, and I still liked a lot of them.
Yeah.
I just love that genre.
Did you like Crash Bandicoot, or was that a little too linear for you?
I loved Crash Bandicoot.
Nice.
No, absolutely. Who doesn't?
Amazing. Yeah. I thought it was so interesting, right? Because they took the side-scrolling platformer and they put you on a predetermined path, just moving forward, which is exactly what you're doing when you're moving from left to right on a platformer, on a standard side-scrolling platformer. And so I love it, but then it still gives you all this freedom. So yeah, man, I don't know. I love Crash Bandicoot. I think it got a lot of hate for not giving you more freedom.
No, Crash Bandicoot did not get any more hate. I don't know what. The internet didn't exist back then.
No, but so Crash Bandicoot. So I know this. We're getting way off course here, but welcome to GamesCast Live. I remember when Crash Bandicoot came out. It was, I think, in the same month, or very
hipsters.
very same, close to the same month as Nights into Dreams on Saturn, Mario 64 on N64, and then Crash Bandicoot on PS1. And I remember they were like the battle of the 3D platformers, like, and they were like, well, this is going to determine like who the winner of these, you know, consoles are. And so Mario 64 comes out and completely redefines what it means to be a 3D platformer, like in 3D space. And Crash Bandicoot is like, you know, a little bit more, you know, a little less, gives you a lot less freedom. And I just remember that being like a really big deal and being like, oh man, Croc is just as good as Mario 64. No, I'm kidding.
No, no, it is not. No, actually, I can't believe I didn't even mention Mario. But yeah, I loved Mario 64 when it came out. And yeah, Crash Bandicoot, Mario 64, all those things. Great games. Jersey Devil.
What is Jersey Devil? So many good games on PS1. I can't. Why do you keep going?
Too.
Yeah.
Oh lordy. Anyways,
I do not want.
I love platformers, and I'm excited to play this, and I hope it's good. Yeah. I hope it looks great, and I hope it's fun and has, you know, just enough content.
Yep. Mark Pringlesleaf says Mario 64 was a game changer. It was, but it also came out like right around the same time as Tomb Raider, and it was like, all right, well, the industry was changing all at once. So I agree. However, I still think Mario 64 is overrated. Don't tell anybody, AJ.
Ooh,
yeah, because that's the response I get when I tell people that. It's totally overrated. Funky Sauce says, Brian, what's your favorite platformer? I'm pretty sure I have to go with the first Jak and Daxter, because I've always loved platformers, man. Mario World, if we're going 2D, and 3D Jak and Daxter. The first Jak and Daxter.
Weren't those like adventure games though?
Jak and Daxter?
Yeah, I didn't actually play much.
It was it was a great evolution of the platformer where it felt like, you know, there's more to it. Like you're going on fetch quests and everything. It felt very much like kind of a N64 platformer, but on PlayStation 2, so it looked even better, and you could see all the way to the horizon, and it was like open world, so you could run all the way out to the horizon. It was very cool. Naughty Dog knew their shit, like almost from day one. Their 3DO games weren't nearly as good. Yeah.
Anyways,
so that was I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail, AJ, because it's just gonna be we talk about Crash Bandicoot for way too fucking long. That's the name of the video. Yeah. Anyway, yep, comes out next week on the 18th, December 18th.
Is that confirmed? Because I know it says that on the store, but is that we feeling pretty safe about that?
Feeling very safe about that. Normally, I wouldn't put much stock into what it says on the store because the store is more wrong than right most of the time. Vertigo 2 just got a January release date on the store, and everyone was like tweeting at me and DMing me and being like, "Dude, it's got a new release date," and I was like, "I don't think so." Because it's the PlayStation Store. And then, of course, now, today, they've switched it back to coming soon. So, I don't... But knowing that Ven VR Adventure, I'd already heard that it was going to be out soon, and then the trophies went live, and now we've got a December 18th release date on the store. It's all coming together.
I was going to say, oh, no, it's on a Monday. Like, I'm not buying it. But then I thought about it, and I was like, shit, Among Us VR came out on a Sunday night. Anything can happen.
Yep. All bets are off.
Yeah, it's pure chaos over there at Sony right now.
Yep.
There are no more rules.
All right, AJ, it's time to talk about some Resident Evil.
Woo! 1 hour later.
Listen, it was me and Miles on here on Friday. And so, and unfortunately, when we did the show on Friday, it was... I think we were both starting with like 90 minutes of first impression time. Like we really hadn't had a ton of time to play it, especially considering it came out so late and all of that. So those were very, very brief first impressions. But we didn't get to hear your first impression. So like pretend it's Friday or pretend it's Thursday night and you've just started, got it going. Finally seeing this game we've highly anticipated in VR. What are your first thoughts? How did it go for you?
It's fucking beautiful. Yeah. It might be the best looking VR game I've ever seen in my life. And that's with reprojection. And no, seriously though, this game is absolutely stunning. And when I jumped into it, I was expecting it to look just like Village.
Yeah.
And I actually think it looks better than Village, which was very surprising because it basically looks a lot like Village, except it has less aliasing. Like it's a little bit smoother. And yeah, man, performance wise, just right off the bat, the way the game looks, the environments, the thing, it's just like this is why we love. This is part of the reason why we love AAA games in VR because look at this. Like, I mean, this is insane to take a PS5 looking game and to actually be thrown into it and to look around, and it is stunning. And it, beyond my first impressions, because I've played about, well beyond first impressions now. It just ends up looking even better as you go on. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, man. I agree wholeheartedly. It's good. It's good and interesting. Oh, hold on a second. They say they can't see us. I wonder why that is. Oh, and we're back. I was trying to render out some footage real quick of some of my gameplay, and just to kind of to share that while we're doing this instead of showing this like stock footage we already had. Yeah, man. So on Friday, like I said, it was first impressions, and I think it was so easy to. Why do we keep disappearing? What is going on? Okay, I'm just going to do that. This should work for a second. I think it was so easy to get caught up, for me at least, for me and Miles, to start the show and be like, wow, like we just jumped into the first hour, 90 minutes of this game, and it's something we've been waiting a long time for. We played Village, and we sort of had like certain expectations, right? We were like, oh, despite the fact that Village was a first person game and this is a third person game, just kind of sort of expected that cutscenes would be taking place in VR. Sort of expected that there would be the same level of interactivity, and there is and there isn't. It feels like a much different game than Village, and so I think we got caught up on Friday, especially talking about a lot of like. I hesitate to even now call them negatives because yes, they're things that we noticed and couldn't stop talking about. On Friday, but man, the more you play, the better this game gets, and the less those negatives feel like negatives to me. They really started to fade away as we went. And the other thing is, this is sort of a sidetrack, but dude, I don't know if you remember my first Village stream. If you ever watched it, it was like my first hour of Village. And I was so irritated with that game. Like cutscene after cutscene after cutscene after cutscene, right? And it turned out to be one of my favorite VR games of all time. But for the first hour, I was so irritated. I was like, just let me play the fucking game. Stop pulling me out of the experience. I was so irritated. And I sort of had a similar experience. I wasn't irritated with RE4, but I was like, just, this seems so good. Let me play it, right? And so and so I'm really, really happy that the same thing sort of happened here. Whereas like once I got immersed, once I was able to let go of any preconceived notions and worry about the third person stuff. It's like, oh, why is this in third person instead of first person? Why am I, when I move bookshelves, am I holding a button? Why am I pushing this car out of the way? I'm just holding a button, watching him do it in third person. You know what? None of that shit actually matters. The more you play it, the better this game gets. And yeah, I'm in love with it.
Yeah, I think philosophically, we've always wanted this thing. We've wanted to have our cake and eat it too, right? Where we get the big AAA games, but then they're fully built from the ground up for VR. And to be honest with you, this game has really opened my mind in some ways, where I used to be very critical on, like, oh, like you can't interact with this, like, this thing is going to third person, whatever. And I did have a little bit of that reaction at first where I was like, oh, okay, wow, it just did that. And usually 9 times out of 10, like I would definitely count that as a critique here. And while it is something that I would like to see, if this game were to get one more update, it's like, yes, I'd like to see it just stay in first person with the roundhouse kicks, or when something is supposed to pop out of the water and get you. And this game has definitely started to open my mind as to like this is the way, man. Like if this is the way we have to kind of bridge that gap, then I am totally fine with that, because what you get with these minor little, I'd say, what's the word I'm looking for? These minor like sacrifices or whatever they had to make, decisions. What you get for it is far more rewarding and worth it having it than not having it at all. And so it kind of opened my mind a little bit to like, hey, this can, at the end of the day, there has to be some kind of medium between like what makes a good VR game and then just what makes a good game overall. And I think the people have spoken here. I think the people have spoken in a vast majority saying, yes, these are things that we're not typically accustomed to or like to see. But holy shit, it doesn't matter when you're still having such a fun time. And it really, like I said, this one kind of changed my viewpoint on this, because while that's something that used to maybe would bother me, it gets it gets just about almost a complete free pass for me here. And it has been amazing so far.
Yeah, no, I mean it's everything we expect from games, right? We want things to be as interactive as possible. We want things to be in first person as much as possible. Cutting away to cutscenes. It's like I do feel like we're in the future, 10 years from now, there's going to be different ways to handle these things. But
better tools, better technology, things like that for adapting these kinds of things.
Absolutely. And just different philosophies, like different, because right now it's like, well, it took these guys, 9 months or something to do this. And like, would we have preferred it to take them 2 years to do something that was like maybe mildly better? And the answer is, for me, no. Like, I'm actually really, really happy with the outcome here. And also, I think playing this so frequently when we talk about VR games, we talk about, oh, we need more AAA games. We need more AAA games. Like, keep them coming. We need more hybrids. But I think if this is how it is with AAA moving forward, like they obviously sirens on my end. They obviously did a lot to make this very interactive, right? You reach down, you grab things off of your, Tornado just jumped into a trash bag. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, I mean, you're grabbing.
She doesn't need saving.
I hope. She's okay. You're grabbing weapons off your chest, over your back. You're reloading in first person, the manual reloads. I mean, like there's so much stuff going on here, and that's just scratching the surface about the stuff that's interactive. But
yeah.
But what it's not is it's not interactive in the same way that like an indie game is interactive, right? Like if you look at the Alchemy Labs people who made a Job Sim and Vacation Sim and Cosmonia's High, you look at Shadow Legend, Vitruvius games are like, this is what they specialize in, Song in the Smoke. I think what it does is it sort of has created this thing that expectations, if you're an indie developer and you're making a smaller game and it's made for VR, well, then we get all these VRAF elements. Then we get these AAA games. We sacrifice a little VRAF stuff, but what we get in return is a 20-hour campaign with a ton of replayability. We get all these different weapons that are upgradable. I mean, this game, the more you play it, the deeper you realize it is, and the more you unlock. It feels like it's just constantly evolving as you play. This is what it means to have a AAA game. So I'm willing to make these small sacrifices, but also at the same time, it makes me appreciate the fact that that indies have their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and if that's how it goes for the rest of this generation, then I'm really kind of happy to have that divide because that means indies aren't getting left in the dust. It means there's still reasons to play those games, and really let you appreciate some of the finer details of games that are built from the ground up for VR.
Yeah, and make no mistake, this game lets you interact with more than it seems like at first. Like you said, if there's one thing I've learned here is that a lot of built for VR games, first and foremost, it's kind of a trade-off, right? Where yes, those games you can interact with every little thing, not even in every game, but in the best examples, the Red Matters and the Saints and Sinners and whatnot. But what it made me realize is that a lot of the times with these VR only games, they do end up kind of coming off as tech demos, kind of like the experience is like great, but then like you experience it and then you've experienced it and there's nothing left there. This game has made me realize that I would much rather have a couple sacrifices.
Yep.
And there's way more that you can interact with in this game than it gets credit for. I think that's one of the ways the first impressions can be misleading, is like they start you out in an area and there's a boot or there's an axe, and the first thing you want to do is go touch it and grab it and play with it, and it doesn't let you. But as you go into the game more, because that's something that you would expect from like a Red Matter or something, right? Like, oh, there's something on the desk, you can grab it and touch it and throw it and whatever. But this made me realize that no, like if I had to choose between the two, like I'm taking this all day because of the content that's there and the and and like I said, I think this game from a first impressions standpoint does not get enough credit for how much you actually can interact with. I mean, there is stuff in the environment that is specifically there for you to touch and mess with. Stuff like chains hanging from ceilings or beads hanging from, inside a house. So on the surface, when you get in there, first get in the game, it seems like you can't interact with much. But I'd actually argue that even though Resident Evil Village was first person converted, overall has a lot of like, non-immersion breaking things where it keeps you, it was built in first person, obviously, and by a different team. And it has smoother implementation of VR mechanics. I think this game actually might have deeper interactions than Village. You have to play more and you have to see everything that it has to offer.
Yep.
Even stuff like the treasure, like there's treasure that you can find and you can sell, and then there's like gemstones and stuff, and you can actually combine the gemstones in your menu, and you actually do this by, guess what, grabbing the gem and placing it on there, and then you can look around it and stuff. And so there's a lot more VR mechanics than it seems like on the surface, just because you go to the first drawer, you can't open it, things like that. And there's also a lot of options that it gives you, like items dropping where you can press X, but if you actually try to reach down and pick it up, guess what? You can. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Resident Evil games, it's the gameplay that I think is just such a magnificent fit for VR.
Wait. Before we get onto gameplay, before we get away from these like VR mechanics and the interactivity and shit, I need to give a special shout out, AJ, for anyone who hasn't played the game or has only played the Quest version, or maybe only played Village. I got to give a special shout out to the boat. Because because
the boat's so much better than Village's boat.
Dude, the boat in Village felt like you were picking up the boat and literally just turning it and then putting it back in the water and then moving. Like it just turned without any resistance. This made me want an entire game with just using this boat. Like I want boat racing in VR. And a little part of me was like, man, they did warn you. Capcom warns you, like, hey, this could cause some motion sickness, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then once I did it, I was like, wow, they kind of don't give a fuck whether they're going to make us sick, because this feels incredible. It's exactly what you want when you're on that boat. In the haptics, in the controllers, like it feels different when you're turning the boat left and right. It all feels like it's exactly the way it's supposed to. And dude, I just sped around that lake for like 20 minutes because I was like, this is fucking fun. I want a whole game that uses this boat all the time. Love it.
I mean, there kind of is, if you notice the little floating barrels out there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I what do you think I was doing out there for 20 minutes?
Yes, yep. I was too. A long time.
There is so much to collect.
That water looks so beautiful too.
The water looks beautiful. They give you so many reasons to just hang out in any area and explore every single corner and figure out how to get more treasure. And you're rewarded for that. You're rewarded for that because I'm sure you're about to get to this because you're about to dive into the gameplay of the game itself. But there's so much shit to buy at the stores. Buy new weapons, upgrade your weapons. The further you get into the game, the more you can upgrade those same weapons. I'm constantly selling weapons, and because we've got a limited inventory space, although the first time I have an opportunity, I'm always expanding my inventory space. Like I cannot get enough of this game, and it makes me so happy, AJ, that there's trophies this time. That you're popping trophies from the flat screen version, because this is a game I'm going to play in replay until I have the platinum.
Yeah, I love that there's trophy support. It's really interesting kind of comparing this and Village, because there's kind of a trade-off as to like which one, like each one kind of does something better than the other one, and it makes it a little hard to compare. But yeah, I like the kind of stuff, the little bit of trade-off we had here, where like, some stuff here goes to third person instead of stays in first person. It's like a lot smoother, than some of the janky cutscenes in that, even though that technically kind of still can be more immersive because it keeps you in there. But yeah, man, gameplay wise, woof, man, this is it's a hell of a game. I mean, in terms of the package that you get here, it is definitely a bigger, shinier package than what you get with Village, and part of the reason is because, like you said, man, it's got trophies, but the content of the game is just a little bit more structured. It's got more depth to it, and it's got a little bit more. It's designed with a little bit better depth and replay value in mind, which is, it's a little bit more of a traditional Resident Evil experience, I would say. I mean, Village definitely has some advantages in terms of like, the way it was designed and syncs with VR. But wow, this is absolutely incredible. And yeah, man, the gameplay, I mean, so let's back up a little bit. It was interesting. They did release an article before the game released, and they said, we had to make some tough decisions. We had things, and what I've learned in the past couple of weeks or something, this is, probably common sense, but I heard this from a developer's point of view, and I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense when hearing it from them explaining things. But they mentioned, like, when decisions like this have to be made, like, developers have to prioritize things, and they have to make a decision as to what they need to prioritize and get right. And they even mentioned this in the PlayStation blog post. They said, look, we had to make some tough choices, but we think you're going to like what we go with here.
Yep.
And then they also said that they're going to focus on what they believe is absolutely like the indispensable things, like this has to be here. And so, like, that's what you get here is, like, they have a time frame that they have to meet. They have, only certain amount of resources. So they have to make a decision as to the best way to optimize this game and what to really flesh out in terms of, like, VR interactions and stuff. And I think they did an absolutely hell of a job here with what they chose to prioritize. The weapons, actually, minus one weapon, the weapons actually feel a lot better. Like the gunplay and the haptics feel a lot better than Village, which also had amazing gunplay, by the way. But it was a little bit like, it was just simple. But dude, tell me about your experience with the knife, man.
Dude, it's funny you say that because I just rendered out some random footage from because I'm trying to do the show and render that out. So I just grabbed something from an hour or two in, and I was so happy that I saw that I captured some that I happened to grab some boat footage. Because right off the bat,
nice.
Here's my footage, and here I am, and it's like the first seconds I'm playing with the boat, and I'm like, this feels amazing. But then you watch me go to the section of the game where there's lots of chickens, and I'm just out there with my knife slaughtering chickens. I remember playing this and going, if anybody ever saw this, they're gonna think I'm. They're gonna be concerned if nothing else. And then here it is. I just happened to render out this footage. So So,
dude, the knife, man.
The knife is great, dude. The knife is great. So first of all, like, there's so much to learn, and I feel like Resident Evil 4 allows you to do as much or as little as you want, right? In terms of, you don't ever have to parry if you don't want to. But if somebody's throwing a hatchet at you, you can just hold your knife up and knock that shit out of the way. and you feel it in the controller. It's the pairing system is great. Now I haven't done this much with like the chainsaw guy, stuff like that, because I try to keep my distance. Although I know from the trailer and the blog posts and stuff.
So I did replay from the beginning, and I got with just because I wanted to actually interact with the chainsaw guy. And let me tell you, man, it feels amazing. It feels it feels perfect, basically. I don't think it could feel any better in terms of the way they use the haptics, grinding like you're blocking the chainsaw or whatever. Mm-hmm. It feels incredible. I did it. It feels so good. I did it twice.
So I played the first, my first impressions were obviously on stream. I did that the night that it came out, but then, but I was like, I'm not going to stream this anymore. I'm going to play through for review, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And so I started over from scratch because I wanted to experience those things again with fresh eyes, and also with the understanding of like what to expect in this game. And so I started over from scratch, and I went and I got to the first area where you first encounter the chainsaw guy. And I was like, okay, good. This time I'm actually going to get to fight him, because the first time I didn't. I just killed a bunch of villagers and he didn't show up. Like, I mean, the cutscene happened that showed him showing up, but I didn't actually encounter him before the bell rang. The exact same thing happened the second time I did it. Like, it's been a long time since I played RE4.
There's an optional way to trigger him coming after you. And I discovered it kind of by accident my second time play, because I restarted the beginning. You have to go into a certain area and he'll come after you.
Okay, interesting. Well, yeah, I've definitely fought him other times. And I've definitely fought other people with chainsaws, so I had opportunities. However, anyway, the point is, weapons feel amazing, dude. I mean, and I'm still trying to come to terms with different weapons, because I rely heavily on my handgun. My handgun's very much upgraded. I've got a laser sight on it, so like I can pick people off from a very far distance, almost like a sniper rifle. But I do have the Stingray rifle now with an extra big scope on it, so I can see really far. I can zoom in like 3 times and pick off people from a mile away, which feels great. But I don't. They really tried to convince me to get into the whole, what's the thing that fires the bolts that you can retrieve?
The crossbow thing?
Yeah, the crossbow thing. First of all, it's kind of a pain to load.
Or like bolt caster thing.
Yeah, you can attach mines to it. So
that's really what you're supposed to use it for. You're not supposed to use it as a crossbow. It sucks as a crossbow.
Yeah.
But if you use the attachable mines and the arrows, then you have like an explosive weapon, the bolt thrower.
Bolt thrower, and then you can go and pick up your bolts, so you have like reusable ammo.
Right.
For me, it took too long to load. I wasn't terribly accurate with it, and so I was getting my ass kicked with it. And finally, I said, you know what, I got to throw in the towel. I sold that shit. I bought an SMG. Yeah. I was like, this is the way to go. So I'm really finding my favorites when it comes to the different weapons, and trying not to beat myself up too much for reusing the same ones again and again. I've relied heavily on the initial shotgun, the initial handgun, SMG I'm back and forth with, and then now the Stingray rifle that I'm using as a sniper rifle.
Yeah, I like the Stingray a lot. I don't like the way the scope snaps, like suction cups to your eye or whatever.
I like bringing it up to my face, because that's what I want. I want it to suction cup to my eye, because I'm trying to do my thing. But then when a wolf comes running at me and I try to put it down, it's still suctioned to my eye, and I'm like, no, down, boy, down rifle. So it's a little wonky.
I'm not great. I think the sniping in Village was slightly better, but I think all the other guns, and especially the knife, feels better than it did in Village. The knife in Village was not. I don't remember using it a whole lot. I mostly use that just to like break objects. It actually feels like a necessity, like a you have to have your knife like ready for emergencies, and it can really save your ass in some situations.
Oh, for sure, because I mean, generally, if you pull off a headshot, then you go in for a melee attack with the roundhouse kick, and then if they're not dead, generally you can use that stabbing animation, the downward stabbing animation, to put them out of their misery and to put me out of my misery, and so it's great because you kind of have like this combo that you set up. It's like, okay, I'm going to take down this group of enemies this way, and you kind of going through the motions in your head. But
I like the I do like the stealth kills or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Tatum and I were talking about it. I hadn't tried it yet when he was talking about it, but yeah, you get up behind them and you have to, like, you know, turn the knife around and you just do like this motion and then it triggers a thing, but it stays in first person. And so, like, I don't know, like it keeps me immersed, and I really like that. And yeah, if I were to have the option, I'd like a similar thing for the roundhouse kick, where it's just like, you know, just have a foot, just even if it's got to cue a little animation, and just have a foot fly up and go. I'd be totally cool with that. Again, I don't have a problem with it, especially as I play more and more. I actually thought that the third person thing would bother me more, but it bothers me less. And like, it's like, no, like this is an essential thing. But I do like how, speaking of the knife, I do like how you can just do that and it does like a little death kill or a kill animation, whatever.
Yeah, I like it too. I do need to ask you a question though. Yeah. In Village, I feel like I was very deadly with my knife. I was like, right, just throwing it out there, like just killing enemies left and right from a distance with the knife. I have zero accuracy with my RE4 knife. Zero. Like, I'm like just trying to like destroy blue, you know, medallions and like the little animatronic toys and shit. And like, it's 3 feet away and I can't fucking hit it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've used it for hitting the blue medallions, and I've used it for breaking objects, but I don't usually throw it a whole bunch. I most of the time just go up and either do like the parry, and if you parry hard enough, like if you put some oomph into it, it will actually stun the enemies too, which is really useful. But it really, just the way it feels is incredible. But yeah, I don't know. I do lots of Michael Myers killing style. Just like I do like this a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I get a little waggle with it. Because I know that I can just kind of like, you know, the enemy like nearby. I got a, you know, handgun in one hand. I'm trying to kill this guy over here. This guy over here, I'm like just swinging my knife at. And so it probably doesn't look super elegant to people in the room or anybody watching my footage, but it gets the job done. And so, I don't think any of it comes naturally. I think when you get in there and you're like, okay, you know, I got to remember to run up to him and hit X to do the melee. I got to remember like how to do, you know, the stabbing motion. It takes a little time. It takes a little time because this is, you know, I think they did a great job of being able to implement everything that Leon's able to do in Resident Evil 4 flat screen. They found a way to make it work in VR, but it means it's not immediately accessible to everybody. I think you need a minute to like really take your time and like get used to it all. And for me, it took a couple hours before I felt very, very comfortable with it all. So if you're at the beginning of the game and you're like, man, this feels fucking weird, like there's a lot going on here, just give it a little bit of time. You get there.
I kind of feel like the opposite. I feel like I feel like it's more accessible to, you know, to people that are not accustomed to VR. Like, I feel like this is a game that would be easier for anybody to jump into. And yeah, there's a couple things that surprise you at first, but I don't know. It's so smooth. The frame rate in this game is also silky smooth. The performance overall is fantastic, but which I think is another thing that just helps and makes it more accessible to lots of people. But yeah, man, what I've learned is that, like, you know, sometimes VR games can feel like work because they're so damn physical.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like that this one, you know, it really, it can be played like sitting down, or it can be a little bit more relaxed. Things are a little bit easier to do. And yeah, it's not as like, I just feel like it's a little bit less intense as like in terms of like, you know, the stress that it puts on you physically.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because more than once. So, you know, when you take all these things into consideration that we've been talking about, it made me. I was running through this castle area, and for just a second, I remembered Resident Evil 2 remake, and I was running through, and I was like, damn, like this for some reason, like I was like, I bet the fucking police station, because the police station in the RE2 remake is beautiful, right? Like completely different than what this game has to offer. It's just like well lit, and it's just like tons of reflections all over the floor, and just beautiful lighting. You know, where everything in this is a little more darker and grittier. And so I was running around, and I was like, man, this game makes me want to play RE2 in the exact same way, RE2 remake in the exact same way as RE4 remake VR. But then, so it was funny because it made me think of RE2, and then it made me think of RE7, because RE7 very much was a game that I played on my couch, you know, sitting crisscross applesauce on my couch, didn't have to worry about, you know, a lot of turning and like, you know, grabbing items or moving my arms a lot. I sat there with a DualShock 4 and used my head to aim and just walked up to items and pushed X to grab them. And I think this is an interesting hybrid between what Village was doing and what Resident Evil 7 was doing, because it does seem a lot more chill in terms of like, oh, I don't like swinging my arms, I don't like doing crazy shit with my hands. You can kind of walk around and just like walk up to barrels and hit X to break them, or boxes, hit X to break them, and then don't have to reach out and grab the items, hit X to just pick it up. And I'm like, normally I would be, I don't know, irritated, but I'm not. Like it feels really, really good to play.
Yeah, and I think that's because they give you options, like I said. Like, you can go up to it and press X, or you can throw a knife at it and break it. Like, that's...
But you would think I would choose the pull out the knife and smash it option. And I'm not doing that
every time. No, I use X every time, because this is the thing, man. This is what this game proves. Is that, yes, VR, like, you know, the VR mechanics and stuff are awesome, but at some point when that wears off, then you're left with what? When the fun interactions and stuff, like being able to open a drawer, or being able to pick up any object in the environment. Yes, that's cool at first. But what does that leave you with in the end? Like, you still, if once that gets old, then it's like, well, where's the rest of the game? And this kind of,
I mean, you're assuming that these games with great VRAF interactions have nothing but great VRAF interactions, and that's not true.
But that is, I guess, the opposite of the end of the spectrum, though, right. Is where you know, I mean, that kind of is the thing, man. You know, when like some of these games are so focused on these interactions that they're missing an entirety of the rest of the game. You know, I don't want to name names, but there's some games that have come out within the last few months that, you know, they do these amazing technical things, but then there's like no depth to the game. There's no replay value to the game. There's no, you know, there's always something missing. There's like extra content that's missing there. And that's just one thing that I really, really appreciate about this game, is that it you know, it's just got so the package that it comes with is just a lot of really good, rich content that's really fun to explore and go deeper with. It's really, really cool, man. It works.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. After playing for an hour and a half, you know, again, talking about it on Friday's show, I was like, man, Village was just better. And I'm not even done this game yet. I am 2/3 of the way through, and it just keeps getting better and better. And I think that even here, 2/3 of the way through, I think I've already experienced a better game than Village had to offer. And I mean, there's no way around it. Like, I think Village was a 10 out of 10. I think this is an 11 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Despite Village having the better VR implementation, or let's just say more, I don't know about better, just more complete VR implementation. Yeah, this game is wild, and it just gets better and better and better. And that's the thing. I've always, even since the original version, I've thought that the first hour or two of this game is the weakest part. Mm-hmm. And I love that even in VR, that's the case here, where I never really was crazy about the first 2 hours of this game, but as it gets going, holy shit, it just gets more fun and more exciting. And I think this game is not as scary as a lot of the other Resident Evils, and I think that bodes well for a lot of people that aren't into horror games. I mean, it has its moments, no doubt, but it's a lot more like action adventure-y than it is like scary, but they do have some cool sections here where they definitely make it pretty, it can get pretty scary. I just don't think it's just nowhere near like Resident Evil 7 scary, which is, I mean, for what it's worth, this is probably the scariest game I've ever played in my life.
Yep. Which means we need RE7 on PSVR 2.
We do.
And
we do.
And then we can have the best of all worlds right here on PSVR 2. It's going to be great. Really, really hope that they're planning on bringing like RE2 remake into VR. Really hope they're bringing RE7 and like, and now we're kind of seeing, things that people might call limitations at work, at play, and they don't bother me in the slightest. I think it's very easy to get caught up in being like, this needs to be VRAF. Without Parole's channel that invented the term VRAF, right? But I think if you start discounting games because they're not VRAF enough, and
I mean, at what point is enough? I mean, because like this game is, in my opinion,
no, I know, and I know I've known you so long, AJ. I knew you were going to interrupt that thought with that statement, right? Because I agree with you. I do feel like the more you play it, the more you're like, oh yeah, the interactions here are great and it all works wonderful, and it's like it feels like a proper VR game. But you can lose yourself in those first 90 minutes and go down a path where you're like, this is, I don't know, it doesn't feel great to play. And then like, maybe it's like, just kind of fucks with your opinion of the rest of the game, or maybe you stop playing. Right. And I do think that we need to remember that the game is the most important part here. And Resident Evil 4 has that in spades.
Yeah. And there's been several examples of games that, have these really awful design decisions where it's just like, why would you do this? Like, and stuff that's so immersion breaking, blah, blah, blah. This really isn't the case here. This is a little bit different, I think, where, the majority, like 95% of it is what we is up to the standards that we come to expect. Yeah. And that's why it gets away with so easily, having just a little thing here or there. It's honestly, it's hard. Like, yeah, I like to talk about it, but it's like so irrelevant to what this game has to offer in terms of both as a game and VR interactions and stuff. It's really rather impressive. And man, does it look good too? I gotta say how good this game looks, because holy shit, man. And it looks better as you keep going. It's really, really insane how good this game looks.
Yeah, and I know that we're well past this statement, but I do want to disagree with you. I think that the first hour and a half, 2 hours of this game is great. I remember being infatuated on the GameCube, being like, "Oh my god!"
Weakest part. I think it's the weakest part of the game.
Okay. Yeah. I listen. Chat.
It's just it's just not as interesting as the rest of the game. Like, it's not like, I like the setting, I like the enemies. This game actually has some, in terms of again, comparing this with Village, because they're the only two on PSVR 2. I think this game actually has better characters and story overall. It's just when you start out in this game, you're kind of just like out in the middle of nowhere, and there's people going muerte, 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 and like, I don't know, the villagers. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's not interesting at first.
Well,
it becomes interesting later, I feel like.
Well, when we're talking about the weakest part of the game, I want everybody to take a look in the live chat and vote, because I think the weakest part of the game is this goddamn escort mission that it turns into. And so I
I
want
don't mind that one bit.
Oh my!
I think it's way more interesting. I don't want to know story spoilers, but
Right, exactly.
But story wise, it's way more interesting than just being in a village full of, corrupted people or whatever.
It's just rough, man. Like I first of all, I hate escort missions in VR and non VR. My whole life, I've always been like, oh, not an escort mission. Like it's just always the worst part of any game. And Ashley is the fucking worst, dude. She's the fucking worst. She's so useless. And so, and anytime I can, I'm like, you hide in here. I'm going to go fight as if you weren't even here. And then when the battle's over, it's like, hey, get out of the fucking locker. It's time to get moving. Right. And that's how I'm treating this escort mission. And dude, you just can't do that all the time. Right. I want to leave her in a locker for the whole game. And then when I've done and killed all the enemies, I'll come all the way back and get her and drag her through the rest. Because, dude, it's just because if she gets hurt, you have to go rescue her, right? Like the game doesn't even tell you. You have to like reach out and click L1, right? You could to get her out of this like destroyed state that she's in. She's like, I can't move. I can't move. You can, but then she's gonna get attacked again, and then the game's over.
Only if she gets attacked again.
Right. And dude, when there's things falling at you from the sky, right? She's right in the path of it. You got to go run over and get her out of there. And it's just like she can be so useless. And in some situations, dude, I was screaming at her today, being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like she's running back and forth in front of me. She's like not staying close enough with me. Like I'm like, listen, I'm trying to fucking save your life, girl. Like stick with me. Like, let's do this shit. And she's a goddamn liability, AJ. And I hate her so much.
You can command. I do not hate her. I think she's fine.
The command's useless. I want her to stay right next to me at all times, right? When she's not in a locker. And she doesn't. Like, she's so goddamn slow. I'm like, we are dodging cannon fire. Fucking move.
Oh, sounds like a personal issue, Brian.
Oh God, I need to see what's going on in the chat here. What is the?
I don't know, but you're definitely not winning the vote.
Oh, I'm not winning the vote. 66% of you think she's fine, but hey, at least 34% of you are with me. God damn, dude. I mean,
you know what annoys me is the characters in some of these other games that are just like screaming at you and the game wants you to be their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and the girlfriend simulator games, those are the ones that bother me.
Yeah.
This is a mission, a critical mission where you're trying to save her. She's the president's daughter. It's got meaning and there's consequences for failure, and no, it's so much more interesting. like her character and the characters in the game and the story is so much more interesting than a lot of other crap I've seen.
Oh man. Well, most people disagree with me, but it's good to see a little bit of support in the chat. So there's that. Oh, Chris Forsenberry says unlock the armor for Ashley and she can never be hurt or picked up. I gotta fucking do that then.
I mean, I get it, Brian. She's no cookie pie, but
who is?
Or Candy Love.
Whoa! Listen, we're two very different characters there. All right, Candy Love never hurt no one, and I wish Cookie Pie would hurt me. Hey, let's check in with the chat. We got a bunch of tips to get caught up on here. Scroll up. Holy crap, we got a lot of tips to get caught up on. Jesus. Did we already? I don't even know where we left off. Something Gamecat adjacent. Welcome to level 1 membership. Izzard with the 2 quid. What's up?
He's back. Something Gamecat adjacent's back.
Oh my! Oh, holy shit!
Yeah, he does. I thought he stopped watching like 2 years ago. Yes, we still say your name every Monday. Every
Monday, except for the last 3 Mondays because we didn't do Gamecat name changes. So, but every other Monday besides that. Good to see you, Gamecat adjacent. Izzard with the 2 quid says, "You ever try kissing a chef? Chef's kiss." I've worked in a lot of restaurants. I haven't met a chef I want to kiss yet.
That has too many meanings.
Smoke them all up with the $2 tip says, "Bring Metal Gear to VR." smoke them all up. If we had the power to do that, it would have happened already. So
yeah, man.
But I'm with
let's get that Snake Eater. Let's get Snake Eater remake now going. I'm really trying to spread the word. Like, I'm trying to make noise about this. And I mean, props to Capcom. Like, they are, I mean, what they're doing for VR is nothing short of incredible. I don't see, maybe Valve with their Half-Life Alyx. Nobody else is really getting the attention like Capcom is getting with their VR support. I mean, Gran Turismo is another good one. No Man's Sky is a pretty good one as well. But that's why these are so important. We're not going to need every game converted to VR forever. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but at least starting out and for the growth of VR and for getting people interested in VR that aren't, this is the way to do it, man. This is how you get people's attention. And this is a pretty high profile game. I mean, this game was in non-VR was nominated Game of the Year. This is what is widely considered a lot of people's favorite Resident Evil game of all time. One of the best in the series, whether you like it or not. And so to have such a high profile game come to VR, like, you damn right, this is getting a lot of people's attention. So this is like, play it or not, this is a very, very important game in many, many ways.
Well, AJ, you said you're trying to get the word out there, and I'm also trying to get the word out there, AJ, because I put a link in the description. I put a link in the live chat. And so if you guys are out there and you want to get VR to more games, don't forget. Oh, wow. That's really how this is going to look? Really? Wow. Okay, I'm trying.
What's your petition for? Is it
it's the petition to get Crazy Taxi in VR.
Okay.
This is,
I need to sign that.
For whatever reason, this is what it looks like when I try to bring it up on OBS. But click the link in this in the live chat. Let's get Crazy Taxi remake some VR support. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. This is important shit. AJ, we also got Living Legend with the Canadian $2 tip in the chat that says Spyro the Dragon better than Mario 64. Spyro is pretty fucking influential, man. Like, you got like at least 3 different games on PS1 where Mario only had one on N64. And dude, everybody I know loved Spyro.
It's Julia's favorite game of all time.
Wow. Salvador with go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
she watched the entire award show. Sorry to bring it up, Julia, but she watched the entire award show hoping for a Spyro announcement.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Was she like a Skylanders fan? Let's talk about Julia for the next 10 minutes. No, she was not into the Toys to Life things, just into the core games.
Well, yeah, Toys for Bob.
No, Toys to Life. The Skylanders. Toys to Life.
Oh yeah. No, not those things. Just the 3 original games. But she knows like all the other spinoffs and everything too.
Cool. Salvador with the level 3 membership says RE4 roundhouse kick animation gives me hope for a Pokemon game in VR. Leon, I choose you from the misses, and y'all, and the Gamecats are the best. Y'all and the Gamecats are the best. Thank you so much, Salvador.
Y'all, Sal. It's an inside joke between me and him. He was watching my stream and he was saying every time I did the roundhouse kick, it looked like I was like unleashing Leon like a Pokemon.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like the way that it works. The fact that it doesn't just pop to Leon doing the roundhouse kick, it like pulls out and pulls back in. Like it's
very smooth because games have done this before and it looked like shit and it felt like shit and it was jarring. I don't know what kind of magic they worked with this, but it works. Like, it's very smooth and comfortable and not jarring to me.
Yep. Yeah. And it looks cool. Like it feels impactful, right? Because like even the transition, the transition to the third person feels impactful, and then the kick feels impactful. It's just well done. Salvador, send our best to the missus.
It's okay for a game to still be a video game,
Yep, true. Yeah, I mean,
at some point, as much as we love VR games to try and feel real and everything, at the end of the day, like, it's okay if they're still video games at the end of the day.
Super elastic bubble plastic game cat with a $10 tip says, get you some butt immersion. Move my butt kicker from racing sim to game chair. Jump scares on hemorrhoids. I mean steroids. Love you guys. It's amazing. That is great.
Yeah, I forgot to mention too with Resident Evil that they have I do like the haptics and stuff in the cutscenes and whatnot.
Oh yeah. No, I mean
it's a nice little touch.
They were the haptics and adaptive triggers were some of the best we've ever experienced in Village, and they did not slouch here either. They carried all that right over.
Yep.
Waleed is now a game cat, specifically a white tiger. My voice is cracking constantly when I try to meow. Canadian $5 tip says, Brian, you're not just a friend, but like an elder brother. Why is it going to be elder brother? Why can't I be your kid brother?
I love it.
He's basically being like, Brian, I love you. You're so old. I love you too, Waleed. He says, your professionalism and dedication inspires me, and I respect you and pray for your success. Thank you very much, Waleed. That means a lot to me, especially on weeks like this where I feel super stressed out and I feel like I'm on edge and I'm worried about offending everybody because I feel like I'm offending everybody all the time. And I wish I could.
I am offended by that, sir.
Good. Well, you're the one person I was trying to offend. So mission accomplished. Super cool video, bro. The $2 tip says RE4 is the first game I ran out of controller batteries for. I am finding myself doing the exact same thing. I'm like, I'm just going to jump in for a couple hours. Next thing I know, it's like left controller battery low. 5 minutes later, right controller battery low. I'm like, I'll play till they die.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. I'm really, really loving it. And it's just getting better and better. I have about 5 chapters left, I think.
It's a long game. So it's way longer than Village.
It's a pretty damn long game. I actually was planning on streaming the whole thing, but because of the midnight release, I ended up staying up for the midnight release, streaming it.
Wait, you were gonna stream the whole thing in one sitting?
No, not in one sitting, but I was planning on streaming the entire playthrough, like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, like I did for Resident Evil. And what happened was the game ended up releasing at midnight, and so I said, "Let me just stay up. I got to do first impressions. Right. I'm not going to be able to sleep knowing that this is out and I haven't touched it yet." So I ended up getting like 4 hours of sleep, and then working an entire day, and I was like hiked up on caffeine all day. And dude, when I got home, I was so sick. So like the original plan was to start streaming it Friday, part 1, when I got home from work. And like, dude, I was just out Friday night. So I was a little bit late. So that's why I haven't finished the game yet, is because I was really sick over the weekend. That's also why I haven't streamed the rest of it. So I'm hoping I'm already like 10 hours, 11 hours in chapter 11. And I'm hoping I can finish it and then maybe go back and stream a hardcore playthrough, because I do think actually difficulty wise, the standard difficulty is a little too easy for me. For the amount of challenge I like, I think it's a little bit too easy. I think just being in VR gives you a huge advantage. And so yeah, so I'm hoping to finish it, and then I'm going to start, if I do stream the rest of the game through, I'm going to start right where I left off on my stream, but on hardcore difficulty is what I'm hoping to do. But before I get to that, I want to finish the game and discover a whole bunch of other cool shit about it first.
Yeah, I mean, I want to finish the game and review it, but then I realized might not be able to review anything else for the rest of the month because I'm kind of busy. But that being said, maybe I'll work on it in pieces. Yeah. So I mean, again, unlike Village, with the trophy support, this has given me I'm not upset with the difficulty at all. I think it's fine. Like it's certainly given me trouble here and there. I've died a few times, mostly because of Ashley, but for the most part, it's been pretty perfect for me on normal difficulty. But I'm excited because I'm pretty sure, like Resident Evil 7, like things carry over, or maybe like Village, things carry over in a completely different way. And so I'm excited to maybe do New Game Plus or do the harder difficulty, but also have a little bit of an advantage when I start. So very excited to get the platinum for this. It's just going to take me a while, which is fine. Dude, it took me like years to get the RE7 platinum, and I was happy about that.
Yeah, and I don't, it sucks sometimes being in a position where you gotta rush through something for a review. I really don't want to rush through it. I really want to enjoy it, but yeah, man, this is one that this will be good for a very long time. So it's like no use in doing everything the game has to offer like within the first couple days. I mean, let this one breathe a little bit.
Yeah,
enjoy it, man.
Yeah. K Felix in the chat says, does anyone else feel short? Yeah, I think they said in the PlayStation blog post that they set the camera below Leon's eyes, and so you do feel a little bit short in the game. I forget the reasoning for that, but yeah, I do feel a little bit short. Just
to make the scale of everything, I think, feel more big, or the enemies or something.
Maybe.
Leon's a big dude, man. He's nothing be scary when you're standing 2 feet over everything.
PZ with the $2 tip says, breaking, window reappears after a brief hiatus. I'm assuming he means our windows where we are on screen.
Oh yeah.
When I was trying to render some footage out, I think we kept disappearing. Super cool video, bro, with the $2 tip. Says 7 is more VRAF, but RE4 is definitely my #1 VR game ever. Yeah,
I think he means Village, right?
I think he means Village because
7 is not more VRAF.
No,
7 is just scarier.
7's way scarier. Yeah, man. I mean, I'd be interested in seeing what happens if RE2 remake came to VR. If they ever brought the first game to VR,
now we know that there's a way that it can work,
right?
Where if you just absolutely can't keep things in first person, it works to just use this third person thing if you have to. Hopefully it's something minor, because that's typically it's a dangerous tightrope to walk on, because that could also really ruin the game. And this is we're very fortunate that this is a situation where it doesn't really hinder anything very much. It doesn't take away any of the fun at all.
Yeah. As far as VR goes, I think 4 might be the best adventure. 8 was the best VR implementation, and 7 is just the scariest. So that's why I need 7 on PSVR 2. You know what? Here, hold on. These two go together. I saw somebody in the chat. David in the chat says, where the fuck was David? David, you said, it's absolutely amazing, but knife throwing seems broken. Can't seem to throw the knife as well as I could in 8. I was saying the same thing earlier in the stream, David.
It's not a throwing knife.
But you can throw it, because
you can throw it.
Marchetto Malheros with the 5 rupees. I hope I pronounced that name right. I'm sure I didn't. And one of these days, Marcello or Marcello or whatever the fuck your name is, I swear to you, I will never get it right, but I will always remember you. He says, throwing the knife for me, hold it in front of my eyes using the point of the knife as aim to the target. So throw it forward, kind of like a dart. Sounds like he's figured it out. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try that, because I suck with the knife. I absolutely suck with the knife, and I am trying to use it to throw. We'll see how that goes.
You got it. It feels too good to throw. Like it feels too good to use it in hand-to-hand combat. Like, forget throwing it. I have no interest in throwing this knife.
Oh, I do. However,
but stabbing people in the face,
yeah,
or blocking chainsaws, or parrying the shit out of people with axes and stunning them, that feels incredible. That's where it's at for me.
Marcel, I'm going to give the dart throwing a try tonight. We're going to see how it goes. Super cool video, bro, with the $2 tip. Says new RE VR port or comprehensive Mercs multiplayer, Mercenaries multiplayer. I'll take a new VR port. Thank you very much. If we're choosing, I want a whole new game, man. It's like multiplayer is fun for a little bit for me, but ultimately when I play a Resident Evil game, I am interested in the campaign.
Yeah.
Marcello's back. I'm sorry, Marcello Malheros. Dude, I'm gonna fuck this up for the rest of my life. With $5 or 5 rupees, parrying in RE4 made me dream about Bloodborne VR. Even with the out of the body roll or limitations, what a dream that would be. Never gonna happen though. Yeah, you never know. We can dream. And I think we got one more tip, and then we'll be all caught up. Oh, 2 more. So this is a long tip break. Prozac 380 with $5 tip says biggest disappointment with RE4 so far. Question mark. He's asking us. Ashley's no longer wearing a skirt up which to look. Don't pretend you didn't do it in the original, you pervert. I probably did it in the original. I mean, I was, yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I haven't been trying to look up anyone's dress in VR. I am very inappropriate with NPCs in VR. I'm like always trying to like see what they respond to. Like if I touch them, if I grab them, if I try to stab them with a knife, if I shoot them, what happens? And so I'm extremely inappropriate with NPCs in VR. But I didn't look up. I didn't look up Ashley's skirt, but she's no longer wearing one, so you can, I guess. Snafu, the $2 tip says, "What if DICE did a real Mirror's Edge VR port?" Yes, please. Like, Stride hasn't quite delivered what we want from them. Good game. It's not everything we want. AJ, final thoughts, man. We've been talking about this for a long time. Final thoughts.
And I need to get back to it. Final thoughts is that it's fucking amazing. It's one of the best VR games I've ever played in my life. It might be the best looking VR game I've ever seen. I love Capcom for bringing this to us, and I'm very glad that it came so soon. It's honestly, it's one of the best and one of my favorite VR games I've ever played in my life.
Yep. Having a hard time disagreeing with that, AJ. I think that I mean, again, like certain games make me retroactively want to review other games lower, right? Like when I was, when I'm playing RE4, like it makes me like what I give like Hubris like a 9 or something like that, and I was like, man, there's not enough room between that 9 and the 10 that this is clearly going to get to accentuate the differences between those two games. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving every single minute with it. I have to stop myself from just obsessing over the side quests. Sometimes I just like, okay, I got to move on. But I'm going to come back and do this the next time I play.
Yeah, I did a couple of them for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're very rewarding. I mean, and when I say rewarding, I mean, not just like in the sense that like, oh, I feel rewarded for having completed this side quest, but also like the merchant gives you fucking money for this shit. And so, the more money you have, the easier it is to upgrade everything. And it's like, it's worth spending some time. And, people are calling this a straight up action game, and it's not. I mean, there's a lot of action in it, but between the action, there's a lot of exploration. There's a lot of stuff you can do to just like, kind of like slow down, smell the roses, kill some snakes, right? Like, I was collecting fish and like all sorts of shit, man. Like
boat around the lake.
Yeah. I mean, like it certainly, it's the action in it is great, but the other things in it are just as great, and I think they're going to go underappreciated to a certain degree because of all the focus on the action.
Yeah, the stealth was surprisingly better. That's the biggest surprise to me so far. Is like, whoa, like this is actually really good stealth too. It's like, what the fuck does this game not do? Like, it's crazy, man. And but this game is a prime example of the dream you and I have, Brian, and many of the cats as well. Mm-hmm. Like this is what we wanted, man. Like, and this is not like a degrading to indie devs or anything out there. They massive props have to go out to indie devs and several other developers out there that are innovating and bringing our level of standards up as to what we expect, what works, finding out what works, experimenting, all these things, all this creativity that the VR developers, the purists, are bringing to the table is very, very important as well. But this is like, this is like what I've dreamt of is getting, the games that before VR, I was playing on console. Like I was playing with a PlayStation controller, and like the dream to me is having more and more over time of those quality games brought to VR, and I'll make whatever little sacrifices I have to make in order to get there sooner. It's just, this has just been a wonderful, wonderful week so far.
Agreed. Mad Vegan in the chat says, I spent an hour in the firing range alone. The mini games that they give you in the firing range with all different weapons. It's like and scores, you try to beat your own score. There's a lot of rewards for that. Oh man, we could talk endlessly about the game itself, but it is incredible. All right, AJ, before we move on to 20 questions, I do want to throw this out to the chat. Don't forget that we do have a GoFundMe going. We generally try not to ask you for money too much. However, with the PAX East 2024 Gamecat Meetup coming up, we definitely need some help trying to get all the co-hosts from not just all over the country, but also from the UK. We're trying to get everybody to PAX East, and that is more expensive than anybody could have possibly guessed. We were fortunate to get media badges, which cuts down the cost a little bit for us to do this. Fantastic. Thank you so much to PAX for allowing that to happen. I just submitted to get a panel room for a live episode of GamesCast Live, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, plane fare is expensive. Hotel fare is getting even more expensive by the day. And just living in Boston for basically 3 or 4 days while this all goes down is going to be crazy expensive. So I want to make sure that my co-hosts are able to do that without completely breaking the bank or having to sell everything that they own. And so that's what this is for. The GameCat Meetup 2024, help the crew. Click the link that I just posted in the chat. And if you can help out just a little bit, we'd really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you to all those that have already donated and stuff. I'm hoping to make it out there, man. And this is the best chance I got.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, PZ said he was talking about the window behind me, like the actual. That's right. Good point.
Okay.
Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, this is the worst thing ever. We put so much time and money and planning into getting this Gamecat Meetup 2024 organized. Like we have some mods coming out. We got people coming from all over the world to come hang out and like be part of this in-person meetup. And it would suck if like AJ wasn't there, right? So that's why this is so important, because we're trying to make this the best experience for all of you. And even if you're not going to the meetup in person, we are doing a live episode of GamesCast, hopefully, as long as I get proof for the panel room, from PAX. We're going to do a live episode live from. That
is the dream. That is the hope. That is the hope.
And so again, it would absolutely suck, not just for you because you're not there, but for like everybody watching to be like, oh, this doesn't feel like GamesCast because it's everybody but AJ, that kind of thing, So we want to make sure that this just goes down as well as it can possibly go down.
Hashtag hire AJ.
Hashtag
remember that? Remember that?
I do.
Oh,
I do. Funny. And then you were like, I'm not an editor. And I was like, I need to hire an editor first. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Little did I know, dude, holy shit. I really thought, I think rewind a few years, and I think we thought without Parole was going to kind of take off much faster than it did. And I'm in the same boat that I was like 3 or 4 years ago. So one day, man, we're going to make this shit happen. All right, man, it is time for 20 questions, which means about 100 of you are about to leave. So thank you so much for hanging out. But this is when today I chose the game because you demanded that you were going to pick it last week. And so AJ has 20 yes or no questions to figure out what game I'm thinking of. Could be PSVR 1, could be PSVR 2. Who knows? Anybody.
All I know is it's going to be it's going to be the most painful game. Dude, wait, who was it Miles or Wes that got you fuck good lately? What game was that?
I don't know.
Somebody Wes got your ass with Neku Atsume.
Yep.
I was like, holy shit.
You sure did.
Dude.
Yeah. Talk about a deep
cut.
He got
you good. Yeah. I was like, oh man, that was good luck guessing that. Oh I know, right? God, don't go easy on me today, man. Mervils.
Okay, I'm going to change the game then. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
Mervils?
No, but I didn't mean to laugh.
Was it really hard?
It was really hard, but now it's even harder.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna put 6 minutes up on the clock. Everybody in the chat, please help AJ out. Suggest good questions, suggest good answers suggest good games based on the answers I give. And let's do this shit, man. Let's do this shit. And yes, I stole this from GameScoop. I love them. On your mark, get Des, go.
Is it on PSVR2?
No.
Of course not.
That would be too easy.
Does it have any scary elements?
I mean, yeah. The elements. Not the whole game. It's not like a horror game, but yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you out here.
Is there stealth in this?
No.
Okay. Scary elements. Is this a deep cut game?
I think for a lot of people it would be. For you and I, not so much.
Okay. No. Let's see here. Did it come out within the first 2 years of PSVR?
No, because I know how much you hate these games that are not in the first 2 years.
Did it come within the last 2 years?
It did not come in the last 2 years.
Fuck. Why do you do this to me? Those are the hardest ones for me.
Because I know you hate it.
Those fucking 2019, 2020 games.
Because I know you hate it. Because I know you hate it. Because I know you hate it.
Does this game support the DualShock?
No.
Okay, so it's moves. Does this game suck?
No, it doesn't suck.
Do I think the game sucks?
No, I don't think either of us think it sucks, AJ. But again, not great.
You better pray that I don't think it sucks.
It's not great.
Not great though.
No. I don't think you ever said it sucks.
I don't know if I'm gonna get this, you guys. He's made it so difficult. Like, let's see. He said it's not a horror game. It's not Exorcist. Doom. Apocalypse Rider definitely sucks.
Yeah.
Is it VRAF?
I'm not going to answer that because I don't remember it being VRAF. I don't know.
Has this developer made other PSVR games?
I don't believe so. No.
Is it a puzzle game?
No, that's 10.
Is it a shooter?
You do shoot in this game.
Is it Is it sci-fi?
Yes, it's definitely sci-fi.
It's a sci-fi with shooting. Is there any multiplayer at all?
Not that I remember. No.
Okay. A-Tech. I don't even remember when A-Tech came out. Is it by the same people that made Zero Caliber?
It is by the same people who made Zero Caliber.
Oh shit, Looper. Oh man, what a disappointment. Oh, is this game A-Tech Cybernetic, Brian?
AJ, this game is A-Tech Cybernetic. X-Real Games.
Thank you, chat. And Looper.
Yep. Looper got it fucking crazy early on. Again, probably not something that everybody's familiar with. Came out March 27th, 2020, so long after a lot of people had jumped to like Quest or Quest 2.
Yeah, I couldn't remember when that came out. That came out in March 2020?
Yeah. Yep.
God,
I know, right?
wait,
And like,
that really was the worst of all times.
right. It's like as a game, I don't think it was terrible, but like it, like certainly we didn't even get a good port of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Certainly,
the port was terrible.
certainly could have been better. And it definitely made me go, X-Real, don't worry about Zero Caliber. You just keep that game over there.
Yeah. But yeah, by the time that came out, I definitely lost interest in anything they had to bring to us.
For sure. And dude, here we are 3.5 years later, and they're no closer to getting Zero Caliber on a PlayStation VR headset than they were before. Which is
no, what are we gonna do? I guess we're stuck playing Resident Evil 4 instead.
We're stuck playing everything else. Oh yeah. All right, man. I think it is time to get this show on the road. Real quick shout out to Virtual Slayer Cat with the level 1 membership, says let's get some RE2 love next. Let's hope so, man. I think that seems like the most, besides an RE7 PSVR2 version, I think RE2 is the most logical next step. What do you think? What do you think, AJ? We got 2 Resident Evils in the same year. I didn't think that was going to be a thing. I really didn't.
I want another. That means that my expectations level is that we get at least 2 Resident Evils
every year.
They've set the bar that high. Dude, no, I think Resident Evil 2 would be awesome, just because that would be such a legendary thing to, like, that is I think widely considered to be the best Resident Evil. And I think that would be such a legendary move by Capcom. I really want 7 remastered, but if I had to pick anything else, I'd probably choose Resident Evil 2.
Yep, I think so. All right, man.
So 2024, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 7, PSVR 2 remaster. Let's go.
Let's make it happen. LA Hembre D, Catallergic Gamecat with a $2 tip, says about to buy lenses. Can I get help on Discord? I saw somebody else asking in the chat early on in the show if I'd gotten an actual review out for any of the VR lenses. The easy answer is going to be go to
VR Rock.
What? No.
VR Rock.
No, VR like VR Rock is okay. Hans VR was okay, but the one that like just blew me away that I'm still using to this day, which just like better quality and I think more reliable, and didn't give me any kind of like weird distortion or anything like that. They're not going to fall off. It's Real Optics. Real Optics were by far the best ones that I tried, and again, I just leave them on to this day. They protect your lenses. To clean the Real Optics ones, they pop off magnetically. You just rub them, real quick with a microfiber cloth, and then boom, they pop right back on. You got your lenses protected. You got sharper vision. Everything is great. Real Optics is the way to go. One of these days, I'll actually have a Kill Artist agrees. He says I have Real Optics and they're great. Blue Juice says VR Rock. Those were fine. I think
that's what I use.
They were kind of a budget version of Real Optics. Like yours came and they were magnetic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like those. I like the VR Rock more than the Hans VR.
Yes, me too.
There's less distortion. There's like no noise. Like the Hans VR had like noise with them for some reason. And they're also like bulky. Also,
they are bulky.
So Brian says Real Optics are the best. If you do want a discount though, you can use code AJPSVR and get a discount on some VR Rock lenses. I think as long as you go with the magnets, you're fine.
Such a sellout.
Go with the it's giving them a discount.
I know. I know.
The thin, I think as long as you go with the thin magnet lenses, as much as I like Hans VR's customer support and how fast they arrive, I think it's better to have some that are long term.
Yeah. Hans were the first ones I used. I used them for a long time because it took a while for Real Optics. There was an accident when I first talked to them, and they forgot to send them out because I didn't go through the normal channels. So I used Hans for quite a while, waiting for those to show up. And Hans were great. However, they just slide on over the lenses and they don't clip onto anything. I don't like that. So eventually, that plastic doesn't stay as tight as it starts off. And so a lot of people, when they're using their Hans VR lenses, they look up and then the lenses fall into their eyes. And so that's the last thing you want. Yeah, it's definitely a design flaw, big time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and especially if you want to clean them and stuff. That's why I like the magnets, because I just take them out, just
easy,
clean them real quick, put them back in, super easy.
Yep, super easy. But yeah, Real Optics for me, big time. That's they're a little bit more pricey, a little bit pricier, but I think you're gonna love them. They are. This is not sponsored. I know it sounds like it is, but after trying all three of the ones we just talked about, these are the ones I stuck with, and I am in love with them. So check that shit out. You cannot put in Brian Paul for a 20% discount. I didn't want any affiliation with anybody because that's just kind of how I roll, and so I apologize for not getting you a discount.
Yep, that's the only thing I've ever been like, yes, because the fucking VR lenses are so essential. It's the best accessory you can have for your PSVR 2 besides a floor mat.
Yeah, dude, big time. If you think your VR if you think PSVR 2 is like anything less than crazy sharp, then like, dude, my vision is not that bad. Like, my vision is pretty damn good. My vision is so slight that my optometrist, the person that wants me to buy glasses, is telling me you don't need glasses. But then I was like, fuck it, I got to try these prescription lenses out, and I sent them my very, very slight prescription, and it made a world of difference. So check that shit out, because you're gonna love it. All right, man, it's time to get out of here. AJ, thanks for spending 2.5 hours hanging out with me, talking about Resident Evil 4 and all sorts of great stuff on this amazing Monday night. I needed this, man, because it's been kind of a crazy weekend.
All right.
And so
as long as it made you feel better, then it was worth it.
I mean, that's the only reason we do this, is for me to feel better. And so success. But thank you everybody out there who hung out with us and supports the channel, dude. I mean, Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry puts timestamps into this. RidePop gets this up on podcast services of your choice. Everybody supports the channel out there financially. You're the best. Thanks for contributing to the GoFundMe. Thanks for being a Patreon supporter on patreon.com/withoutparolegames. Thanks for being a member here. Dude, everyone who tips during the show, you don't even know how important that is. I appreciate you so much. Everyone who hangs out, helps with 20 questions, shoots the shit, keeps us entertained while we try to keep you entertained. And of course, all those who sit back. Oh, I almost had it, AJ. Sit back and watch the show and don't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. We love you just as much. And I'm not even fucking kidding. I know you're out there because I've been stalking you for years. It's Monday, AJ. Can we cue the cap?
Cue the motherfucking cat, Brian, because it is time for me to jump back into Resident Evil 4. But before I do, I want to say have a wonderful night and see you guys on Wednesday. To Looper, the Underground Gamecat Elite Name Squad in the house. Also, great job. Thank you for the help there, getting that crappy game that Brian tried to get us with. But you saved my ass.
If it wasn't for Looper, no one would ever get any 20 questions ever.
No, I was on the right track, but I don't think I was going to get that.
It's not you versus me. It's us versus Looper.
Yeah. Scott, the PSVR Gamecat for life. Guys, fist bump to you. The Feder PSVR2. Good to see you, my friend. Dinglebert Wingledank,
wow.
One of my favorite names of all time. That's a good night. That's a good old classic. Secrets of Aceville VR says, go play RE4 AJ. I've been trying for the last hour and a half, man. Blue 2, the Underground Gamecat Elite Name Squad in the house. Thank you so much. Virtual Slayer Cat. It's all Brian's fault. Yep. I just want to play Resident Evil 4. Is it too much to ask? Chris Forthenberry. See you later, man. Tom, Flesh Eater Gaming. Flame at the Gamecat. Fire. Snafu says, booyah, AJ. Shapeshifter, the Animorph Gamecat, says, been a pleasure. Later on. Thank ya. Steve RE in the house tonight. Gabriel Double Florida, licensed VR Gamecat. Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. But don't forget, we've also got Rulert in the chat, throwing up them hands. Let's see them hands, Ruler. Stike, the Signosis Gamecat. There you go. There's another one. Tatum. He says, come on, AJ, light no fire. Robert the Gamecat, Rathmania in the house tonight says, I got Las Plagas to kill. Yes, we have always lived in the Castle Mary Cat. You have a great night as well. Chrome Colossus. Thanks so much, man. Random Toxie, the Holly Jolly VR Santa Cat. The Holly Jolly VR Santa Cat.
Wow.
Markio,
That
the
was rough.
Sleepless Night Underground. Gamecat Trader. He says, more RE4, let's go. No, I'm with you there, man. Salvador, peace out, homie. Move Master Mick, esports commentator for hire, says TTFN. All of you have a wonderful, wonderful night, including you, Awesome Tatum. But first, Brian.
Yeah.
First, before we get out of here,
Yeah.
you know what time it is.
You want to see what was happening in Without Parole history all the way back on December 10th, 2021.
Yes, it's literally the reason I show up every Monday.
Sweet. Well, I hate to disappoint you.
Just to find out what happened 2 years ago.
All right, let's check this shit out. Here it is. Oh, no. No. Among Us coming to VR. How little did we know it was going to be 2 years before we got our hands on it.
Are
Wow.
you fucking kidding me?
Yep. 2 years ago today, Among Us coming to VR announcement. You've got to be shitting me. Plus,
And it just released, and it just stealth dropped last Sunday.
Stealth
Holy
dropped.
fuck.
yep.
2 years?
Plus, AJ, huge alpha update with zombies, bazookas, and more.
That update was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Too bad. I don't know how Alpha's doing right now. I don't imagine it's doing very well.
I mean, it's just I can't imagine any games doing very well because there's too goddamn much to play. Like, even if every game was amazing, it's like people only have so much time and money to spend on games, and I feel like we're getting banger after banger after banger. Poor Ancient Dungeon. That game is incredible. Did you play any Ancient Dungeon?
I did play a little bit. I've only done like 1 or 2 runs though.
Tell me you love it. Tell me you love it.
I don't love it.
I hate you so
like
much.
it. I like it.
Nope. Unacceptable answer.
I like it more than Crystal Rift.
Dude, it's an insult to compare the two.
Exactly. That's why it's better.
Oh my god. I'm so done with you.
No, it's charming. It seems like a good dungeon crawler. But dude, I mean, like, I want to jump back into Green Hell. Like, I want to jump back into No Man's Sky some more now that it's updated.
Yeah, I know.
I miss Gran Turismo. I feel like it's been a month since I played Gran Turismo, and I was like all about it like a couple weeks ago. But first and foremost, I want to finish Resident Evil 4 and then replay it 5 times, and then I'll be ready to play something else.
Blue Jew the Underground Gamecat says, well, Ven was supposed to come out for us 3 years ago now. So I guess that puts things into perspective.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, we're really excited about Ven VR because we like platformers, and
yeah.
I hope it's really good. I hope it's better than Lucky's Tale was.
Well, we'll find out. All right, guys, everybody, thank you so much for your support and listening to us for 2.5 hours. We love you so very much, and we'll see you very soon. Good night.
Bye.